bit unconscious. He lost consciousness.
Yeah. Great hero of both counties. Had a huge influence on Somerset cricket.
Next delivery from Brooks is passed through to the is allowed through to the keeper, and no run. And a very brave man as well to be facing the likes of Daniel and Holding at the age of 45. And
foolhardy, brave verging on foolhardy.
Brave verging on foolhardy. That infamous final session at
Old Trafford.
1976, the last game for Close, the last Test match for Close and John Edrich. Both senior players. Next ball is angling back into Balance, who plays it backward a square on the onside for a single.
He always looks like a potential LBW victim, Balance, doesn't he? The way he shuffles across his stumps.
Yeah.
But it's been in good nick this season. Not so much recently, but certainly early in the season. Would he get centuries in 4 successive matches, and that went with 2 centuries at the end of last season?
I think it was 6.
Was it 6?
6 in a row.
And then he's thwarted by rain in...
Next ball is through to the keeper.
On 51. 51, and then it rained.
Was that the game down at Guildford?
I think so.
I've been doing all Yorkshire's games this year, so can't be entirely sure.
And it would have been a record, I think, to have scored 6 centuries in 7 successive matches.
Next delivery from Brooks, shaping away, but started too wide.
If Steve Pittard is listening, he'll no doubt correct me on that, but I know that W.G. Grace did it in 6. Mike Proctor did as well, and there's somebody else who I can't remember more recently who's done it. Dom Sibley. Here we are.
Yeah, Sibley's been in good nick this year, hasn't he? Chance for the Ashes, do you think?
Yeah, possibly.
Pitched up and pushed up to mid-off. They're talking Jason Roy up, but he's I wouldn't be happy. I don't think... Not sure he's a Test match batsman. Jason Roy, wonderful ODI batsman that he is. That's the end of the over, 167 for 2. Deutsch is not back yet. How far are we away from tea? Another half an hour or so.
Well, how many overs? Just looking on the scoreboard to see how many overs we have got left. That one doesn't tell me, but I can do it from
remaining 40 overs, so 8 overs to go.
8 overs to go to tea. So yeah, well, we're just about bang on schedule. So we should be at tea. Well, maybe 1:45 rather than 22. But Somerset do bowl their overs commendably briskly. Here's Bess in from the Emerald stand end, and he's bowling to Gary Balance, who runs that backward square as far as Jack Brooks, who's an unlikely tenant of the backward point position, but not a bad fielder by any means. Bess is normally there, but he's bowling. This is uppishly driven. Just for a moment that was in the air. Tom Banton there with the helmet on at short extra cover in a catching position. Craig Overton at slip. Best bowling is there and bowls, and Balance drives, and Abel is quickly to his right at extra cover to do the fielding. Bess is in let's take that scoreboard. I'll give you his bowling figures in just a moment. He's there now bowling to Balance, and Balance is forward to what sounded, judging by the bowler's reaction, to be a pretty good ball. He's in his 12th over, taking 1 for 28. So economical, but in all honesty not particularly threatening. Just getting the odd one to bounce and turn, and that one, case in point, certainly bounced and turned a bit away from the left-hander, but too wide in the first instance, so no need for Balance to play a shot. 167 for 2, Yorkshire going along nicely. Bess is in and bowls, and Balance just props forward, plays it with a dead bat out into the offside end of that over. 167 for 2, with Balance on 43 and Kohler Cadmore on 38.
David Collicott, in keeping with Ron Redondo Beach tradition, I will be pumping iron today. However,
There you are.
However, I'll be pumping a few drives down the fairway and hopefully sinking putts. A little golf as well, but only after the cricket concludes.
Oh, there's some very good golf courses around there.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever played them, but that's sort of Cypress Point and Pebble Beach country. It's just driven uppishly, but well cut off by Azhar Ali, who isn't the most athletic fielder in this Somerset side, but is nothing if not wholehearted. Gives it 100% in the field, does Azhar. You'll be having a bit of a break now. This is the last 4-day match for Somerset until they play Warwickshire in August. Focus switching to a T20, as this is a drive that comes off, or that squirts off an inside edge out to Tom Banton, who's fielding on the deep square leg boundary. Another run goes on the scoreboard. 168 for 2. Jack Brooks toiling away, but without his customary Headingley success. He got five wickets in this fixture last year, 5 for 116 in the Somerset first innings. He was also last man out, I remember, when Somerset won that game by 224 runs, caught by Marcus Trescothick off Jamie Overton. Sprawling catch, one of many brilliant catches that Trescothick has taken during the course of his Somerset career. Here's Brooks coming round the wicket to Balance, who covers up, plays up the offside. He has the all-time record number of catches for a Somerset outfielder, as Marcus Trescothick. Tally now stretching well into the 430s, 440s. And whilst he may not be quite the batsman he was, he certainly still is as good a slip fielder as he ever was. Brooks bowls, and this is short, and Balance pulls out of a hook shot. Just lets the ball go through to Steve Davis. 168 for 2. Fine afternoon here at Headingley. No sign of the showers with which we were threatened earlier on. Plenty of blue sky away to the east.
Who was this as fine a slip catcher as ever, you were saying?
Marcus Trescothick. Here's Brooks in and bowls a full length delivery, which is driven into the covers and nicely fielded by Tom Abel. We're all hoping against hope that he plays his way back into the first team, Marcus. He's playing for the seconds. He's got some runs. He got 90 the other day. Either that or, an unfortunate or perhaps fortunate injury to one of the other players when the championship is all but clinched, and then he can be back in the side for the climax outside the off stump. No shot from Balance.
Would they give him a final?
No, I don't think so.
A final game?
Well, if the championship had been won, let's say that we've won the championship by the penultimate game. Then yes, I dare say they bring him back for a sort of ceremonial appearance in the last game. If the championship has not been won, and I think it's unlikely that it will have been won, judging by the way Essex are going, then he will only be in that side against Essex on merit.
What if the championship has been lost?
There wouldn't be much point, would there?
Bring him back, fans say goodbye to him, whatever.
I suppose they might.
Wouldn't
be quite the same.
Those things often come down to the players themselves, don't they? I mean,
they take a pretty hard-nosed attitude, Somerset. Here's Bess to Kohler Cadmore, slip and a short leg. Kohler Cadmore covers up and plays that defensively.
Doidge looking to come back in.
Jonathan Doidge reappears. Yeah, if you like. Yeah. This is turned into the onside as Tom Abel does the fielding at mid-wicket. Steve Tankle taking the place of Dave Townsend. Oh, it's an appeal for LBW, and umpire Hartley is not impressed.
That would have been a good start.
Hard work this afternoon, isn't it, Steve?
Oh, it is, isn't it? Yeah. Missing Lewis, I think.
I just don't think there's very much in this wicket. I thought Craig Overton bowled well this morning.
Timmy bowled well from the bottom end.
Yeah, yeah. Here's Bess in and bowls and forward defensive. Now, tell listeners what it is that that you do.
Well, when I'm not an accountant and trying to earn some money, I write for a Somerset supporters blog that's called The Insider, which is the brainchild of a guy called Steve Jennings, who set it up about 4 or 5 years ago. And
that's whipped down to fine leg. It's going to be pulled in just inside the boundary by Jack Brooks, and they will come back for a second run. Good piece of fielding down there by Jack Brooks. Takes the score on to 170 for 2. Yeah, you were saying.
I started.
Steve Jennings, yeah.
I started writing for them 2 years ago, mainly because wanted to be a cricket journalist when I left school and was persuaded to be an accountant.
Oh, well, I think you've probably made the wise choice. Here's Bess in to bowl to Coda Catmore, who drives up to mid-off, but won't get a run.
It's a bit of a nostalgic thing because my dad passed away 4 years ago, and he was a huge Somerset fan, and he got me into Somerset, would you believe, in 1970.
Oh, right, yeah.
And although work took me away from Somerset, we used to speak after every day's play or text, and the writing, in a funny sort of way, is a bit of a commentary and talk to him, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do, yeah.
And sadly, he passed away in May 2015, and that season of 16 that you were talking to DT about, I felt him with me the whole time. It was just uncanny.
It was a sad day, that, wasn't it? Sorry, apologies to Yorkshire listeners for this Somerset. Captain Tom coming into the attack to bowl his right arm swing. He swings it, does Tom Abel. He's going to be bowling round the wicket. He hasn't been as successful with the ball this season so far as he was last, when I saw him get a hat trick up at
Trent Bridge.
He has taken just 3 wickets, and they've cost him 52.5 runs each. But
in fairness, he hasn't needed to bowl that much, has he, compared with last season?
Indeed, and also in fairness, he did bowl in the One Day Cup game at Lords against Hampshire, and he took 2 absolutely crucial wickets. Right, he's going to be bowling to the left-handed Gary Balance. He's round the wicket, he's there and bowls. Balance lets that go through outside the off stump. Just a little bit of wobble there. Yes, it's been a tough day this so far for Somerset. Would you have done what Tom did?
I would have, I think. Yeah, you got that sort of. I didn't really want Somerset to bat this morning. I'm afraid.
No, that's the worst possible reason.
I know. Every cricket fan will be screaming at me, but it did look like it was going to rain. In fact, as I drove into Leeds, it was raining a little this morning, and
it's turning into a nice day now, especially if you're a Yorkshire follower. This is played into the offside defensive shot. We've got short straight mid-on, which is Jamie Overton. We've got a short forward square leg, his twin brother Craig. And we've got a, what would you call that, fourth slip, James Hildreth. Very strange field this is. And that beats the forward defensive shot of Gary Balance. A little bit of swing there.
Gary Balance will think he's seeing double if he looks to the leg side, because he sees one over.
He got both
3 degrees to. Oh, and having said that, he's moving out of there now. So
that was a short-lived experiment.
Jamie's going into 4th slip.
Yeah. So Craig is now. Well, he's He's not as straight as his brother was. He's still a short mid-wicket with his hands on his knees, catching as Balance plays this up the onside of the pitch. And
I'm sort of hoping this is a day like last Monday against Notts when they were two down at tea time.
Yeah, and then went down in a heap.
Yes.
Yes, I was there for that. Quite extraordinary phase of play.
Was Dave Bracegirdle crying in the back of the box
he
at
was
some point?
He was resigned, was Dave Bracegirdle. As that's played defensively into the offside. I think this Yorkshire side, though, made a rather sterner stuff than the present Nottinghamshire side. They won't be giving their wickets away in the way that Notts did.
But Somerset this season are relentless, aren't they? They do keep coming at you.
They do.
So, you know, you give them half a chance. If we were being objective here, Mr. Gibson, we'd say half a chance, and they...
Here's Tom Abel then in and bowls to Balance, who I think just brought his bat inside the line of another good away swinger. In swinger to a right-hander, away swinger to a left-hander. End of the over, which was a maiden. 170 for 2.
They're approaching the 100 partnership now, aren't they?
When did they come?
82?
Yeah. Yes, they're going along without any real difficulty at all. You're listening to cricket commentary on this Specsavers County Championship Division 1 match between Yorkshire and Somerset from Headingley in Yorkshire. From myself, commentary from myself, Anthony Gibson. Steve Tancott with me, who writes for the Somerset Supporters cricket blog called The Insider. And our other commentators on BBC Radio Leeds is Jonathan Doidge, and our third voice, Dave Townsend. And Jonathan says somebody is all out, Sussex presumably, at Old Trafford, where they've been in terrible trouble. Meantime, Bess is bowling from the football stand end and draws a defensive shot from Cola Cadmore. And we're bringing you this commentary on behalf of BBC Radio Leeds and all of the other Yorkshire stations, BBC Radio Bristol and BBC Somerset. Bess bowls, and that one just bounces a little bit on Cola Cadmore. Banton thought he might be in business at forward short leg momentarily. But
Seeing Tom Banton, I don't know if you noticed, Anthony, he puts a towel, they bring a towel out that he sort of wraps around the front.
yes,
As protective as well as all the padding.
Bess is in and bowls.
I've
I
seen-
wonder if that is, if umpires would take a dim view of that.
I wondered.
Because it's possible that that the ball could catch in that, isn't it? This is down the pitch from Cola Cadmore, but just plays it into the onside when he gets there, and Tom
Well,
Abel.
Ben
quickly feels
Slater's catch on Monday when Tuesday when Tom
Yeah,
Abel
I didn't see that, but Tom
he
Abel.
was turning away and
Yeah,
it just
and-
lodged and stuck there.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
So unlucky.
they can do. His best bowls, and then again bounces a little bit on Cola Cadmore. He plays it into the onside. Brian Close once claimed to have taken the catch between the cheeks of his bottom, except he didn't quite put it like that. When he wasn't at short leg, it was a caught and bowled. As this is played into Banton's pad, into his left pad at short leg end of that over 170 for 2. It's a Sunday League game against Gloucestershire at Bristol in I can't remember, Sadiq was the batsman.
74 or 75
something
around
like
there.
that. And Brian Close came on and bowled this sort of donkey drop, really, one of his ancient off spinners, and Sadiq whacked it back at him, and the non-striker got in the way of Brian Close, so he didn't know where it was, so he sort of semi-turned his back on it and lodged between his thighs, allegedly. It's all in Brian Rose's excellent autobiography, which
I've read, thank you.
Here is Tom Abel to bowl another over. He's going to bowl to Balance outside the off stump. There didn't seem to be much swing there.
My favourite experience of seeing Close was a Sunday League game in at Yeovil at the Westlands ground.
Yeah.
and Norman McVicker hit Alan Jones for the last 2 balls of the game for 6.
That's right, yes.
And as Dad and I were walking out, Alan Jones ran into the public toilets and locked himself in the toilet to keep away from close intrusion.
Yes, able in and bowls and defensive shot from Balance. Yes, Norman Vicker he wasn't a great batsman either, and they needed 12 off the last two deliveries to win the game. And Alan Jones,
he hit the first one for 6, and Close meticulously reset the field.
Yeah. One of them didn't carry Graham Burgess by very much. Brian Rose suggested that perhaps Graham didn't, but he didn't make quite the effort that he could have done to catch it. He was able in the bowls, and that's turned into the onside by Balance. Apologies to Yorkshire listeners, but we are talking about one of Yorkshire's own, the great Brian Close.
And if I can claim my Yorkshire connections, both my grandsons were born in Skipton.
Oh, well, there you are.
So there you go.
Yeah, well, I was saying my father was born at Attercliffe at Sheffield. Grandfather was Baptist minister at Ilkley. There's a wedding going on at the Baptist Chapel just outside the ground, South Parade Baptist Church, as that's played back up the pitch by Gary Balance.
Hasn't conceded a run yet, Tom Abel, at the end of his second over.
Good steady stuff, but it's not, they're not looking as if they're going to get a wicket at the moment, are they? They've gone wicketless in this session so far. Somerset, the pitch isn't doing anything very much. Don Bess is getting a little bit of bounce. I think Maharaj might bowl pretty well on this. Abel is in and bowls, and there's a little bit of in-swing to the left-hander, but well played by Balance, just whipped it into the onside where Craig Overton makes a good stop at short mid-wicket. The sun comes out. Yorkshire crowd enjoying the cricket here today. Good performance.
This time last year, Leeds Rhinos were at home on the Saturday.
Only you could get all the roars from the rugby ground. Yes. He was able in and bowls outside the off stump. Decent pace there, decent pace and carry, but too wide of the off stump.
But it was surreal because the Emerald stand was still being built. You could actually see through to the rugby ground from down on the terrace.
170 for 2. Yorkshire, how long have we got to go to
10 minutes, 2 overs.
2 overs. Well, it will be probably get 3 overs in.
Don bowling.
Yes, he's continuing from the Emerald stand end, or the rugby stand end. Sorry, the football stand end. That's best bowls, and again, there's a little bit of bounce there. Comfortably played by Balance.
Yorkshire were
by Colacab,
perhaps beaten by the rain against Essex here back in June, weren't they? They were doing well in that game.
It's Bess in and bowls, and Colacab punches that away through the offside. Doesn't time it as well as he can do. It'll just be pulled in a couple of yards inside the boundary by Azhar Ali, and James Hildreth sends in the return. They come back for 3 runs, 173 for 2. These two came together when Adam Lythe was out with the score on 82. So they've added 91 together. 91 pretty untroubled runs. Bess is in and bowls, and forward defensive from Balance. There's been not much in this pitch so far to encourage really any of the bowlers. And the ball's coming reasonably nicely onto the bat. It's not a quick pitch, but that's played into the onside. Easy paced, would you say, Steve?
Very easy paced, and at the moment, even bounce as well, isn't it? Someone like Balance will be enjoying batting on this, I think.
It's the voice of Steve Tancock, who writes for the Somerset cricket blog, The Insider, as this is played square of the wicket by Balance, picked up by Jack Brooks at backward point, no run. It's been, I thought the morning session was just about even thanks to those 2 bonus wickets just before lunch, but it's certainly been Yorkshire's session this afternoon as this is driven back up the pitch in the air for a moment, and Don Bess thought he might be in business for a caught and bowled momentarily, but bounced well short of him. end of that over, 173 for 2 Yorkshire. With Coda Cadmore on 41 and Balance on 44 rather, and Gary Balance on 43. So these two keeping pace with each other.
I don't think these two are going to have a lapse of concentration like the openers did just before lunch either. They look determined and set, don't they?
They do. And this is where the Somerset battle plan can, I wouldn't say come unstuck, but it can't, it doesn't necessarily produce results when they stick to their formula of plugging away and aiming at the right areas and trying to frustrate the batsman and hoping that something's going to happen. Whereas there are times in cricket where you've got to try and make things happen.
So do you think Azhar should have a couple of twirls after 10?
Jamie Overton, I think I'd bring back. This is played defensively by Coda Cadmore.
Jamie can be quite streaky, can't he? He can suddenly come on having not bowled brilliantly in a day and just bowl a spell from nowhere that...
Well, it's a bit like that, you know, the spell he bowled against Nottinghamshire in the last session.
Yes.
When you would have said that it was going to be the spinners who bowled Nottinghamshire out.
Yeah,
and
he came back and
came
took
in
4 wickets.
Yeah, blasted them out. This is played defensively back up the pitch and bowled as quick as I think I've ever seen him bowl. He was very quick at Scarborough back
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was quick here last year on the Saturday. He bowled Gary Balance for pace.
Yeah.
And went through them in the afternoon because that was Kane Williamson was playing for Yorkshire.
That's right. That's when Craig Overton got Kane Williamson out. Here is Abel going over the wicket to the right-hander, and he just manages to clear a leaping Overton in the gully. That must be, is that Jamie there?
We shouldn't ask me that question. Yes, I think Craig's at silly short mid-wicket.
Yeah, I think it is Jamie.
Well, not much help up here, but they've got different sunglasses on. Jamie's got white frames and Craig's got dark frames, but you can't see up here.
177 for 2 then. As Abel is in and bowls to Coda Cadmore, and that went off the pitch, but again, too wide in the first instance, so Coda Cadmore didn't have to play a shot at it. Delivery is bowling a good brisk pace is Tom Abel. Very, very successful schoolboy bowler, topped the bowling averages as well as breaking all the batting records at Taunton School. He's in there, nice easy approach, full length delivery, played up to Jack Brooks at mid-off. Don Best coming charging across to try and cut it off.
I wonder if he's slightly the victim of second season syndrome in terms of his bowling, that everyone on the circuit doesn't take him as much liberty or relax against him as they did last year.
Yeah, quite possibly. What do you think about Don Best playing for Yorkshire in the T20?
I think it's a really good move. Everyone's a winner there.
Abel's in and bowls and beats Coda Cadmore with a good one outside the off stump. Is that the opinion of the people who comment on your blog?
Yes, yeah, I did a quick reaction piece on Thursday morning, and on the whole, I think everyone was positive. I mean, obviously, the thing that haunts Somerset fans is we don't want a situation like we had with the 2 wicket keepers 5-6 years ago with the 2 spinners.
Do you really think that in the long term or the medium term that Somerset are going to be able to hang on to both Leach and Best?
It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. If we're playing in West Australia or half our home games are in somewhere on the subcontinent, maybe.
Is Best then to bowl the what I well, it might not be the last over before tea.
But I think it's fair to say both Dom and Jack are very, very popular with the Somerset fans. Very popular.
Absolutely. No shot there from Balance, who's got a slip and short extra cover. A little bit of uncertainty there on the batsman's part. It's best just push that one through a little bit more. Aeroplane goes overhead on its way to Leeds Bradford Airport. They sometimes cast fast-moving shadows over the outfield, but not on this occasion. Bess is in and bowls, and on leg stump, Balance stretches forward, plays it into the onside. Yes, I think it's, and if Dom Best does move on, I think it's right for him and his career that he should be playing regular first-class cricket. So that's played into the onside again for no run. He is a very talented cricketer, has the potential to be a genuine all-rounder.
Yes, yeah.
But I hope he doesn't concentrate too much on his batting at the expense of his spin bowling. This is a big drive from Balance, and so nearly a slip chance to Craig Overton at slip. That flew off the outside edge. It wasn't a chance. It went very fast and away high to Overton's left. But streaky shot, and that, I suppose, is the justification for the Somerset tactic of plugging away and plugging away, because sooner or later the batsmen are going to lose patience.
They stick 1 in the 20 or 30, those sort of chances.
Yeah.
Don't
181 for 2. That's Best bowls to Balance, who, having had his rush of blood, is content just to pat that back to the bowler. So we'll get one more over in before tea. Balance has 47, Kola Cadmore has 48. It's 181 for 2. What did they go in for? Was it 83 for 2 at lunch? I think it
91 for 2.
Was it?
So the umpires in this, it's a bit like a club game, isn't it? We've got a Somerset umpire and a Yorkshire
Indeed,
umpire.
yeah.
I've just
Mike Burns and Peter Hartley. They would have played against each other as well, wouldn't they? Back in the 1990s. Right, last over before tea. Tom Abel's going to bowl it. He's going to be bowling to Tom Kola Cadmore, who's on 48, so needs just 2 for his 50. He's in bowls outside the off stump. No shot from Kola Cadmore. Been very much Yorkshire's afternoon. Apart from that, it wasn't even a half chance from Gary Balance, but apart from that full shot that flew close to Craig Overton at slip, these batsmen have offered no chances. Abel is in and bowls. Defensive shot from Kola Cadmore.
I've been really impressed with Kola Cadmore. It's the first time I've had a proper look at him live, and I really like the look of him.
Oh, he's a good player.
Well organised.
Yeah. Born in Chatham in Kent.
Really?
Yeah. But he's got Yorkshire connections. And of course joined Yorkshire from Worcester. This is outside the off stump. He told Steve Rhodes, the Worcester coach, that he was going to Yorkshire at the end of the season. And Steve Rhodes said, "Well, if you're going to Yorkshire, blooming well go now." Just chucked him out of the dressing room. And his father was actually the Worcester dressing room attendant.
Oh,
yes.
At least he had someone to pack his bags.
Yeah. This is another defensive shot from Kola Cadmore back up the pitch. Yes. He's not perhaps done quite as much for Yorkshire as they were hoping for, but he's having a good season.
And he'll come on strong in the 2020 as well.
He will indeed. Tom Abel then is in and bowls, and that's just defended up to mid-on. Partnership on 99 between these two, and they've batted throughout the afternoon session and putting Yorkshire into a very strong position. Abel bowling with a slip and a gully, and defensive shot from Kola Cadmore brings the afternoon session to a conclusion. It's 181 for 2 Yorkshire, with Gary Balance on 47, Tom Kola Cadmore on 48. No wickets for the Somerset bowlers this afternoon. It's been hard pounding for them. A little bit of bounce and turn for Don Bess's off breaks. Not much in it really for the spinners. Jack Brooks and Gary Balance having a little chat, friendly chat down there as they walk off almost hand in hand. But, good mates. So there we are at tea, 181 for 2 Yorkshire. We'll be back with you in around about 20 minutes time for the evening session.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back then from Emerald Headingley for the third and final session on this opening day of the Specsavers County Championship Division 1 match between Yorkshire and table-topping Somerset. Yorkshire 181 for 2 as we resume play then. Gary Balance not out 47. Tom Kohler-Cadmore is not out on 48 in a partnership. Currently worth 99 runs for the third wicket. The wickets to have fallen both in the closing few overs of the morning session. Will Frayne caught best bowled Jack Brooks for 45, 27.5 overs into the Yorkshire innings. And then Adam Lyth, who'd also played well, was caught by Tom Abel off the bowling of Bess for 35, with the score on at the time 80. My apologies, 82 I should say. It was 83 for 2 at lunch. Gary Balance added a further 44 to his lunchtime 3. Kohler-Cadmore was not out naught at that point and has scored all 48 since. So good partnership developing here by this Yorkshire third wicket pair. It's going to be Gary Balance continuing on strike then, but he's back to us at the pavilion end of the ground. So Dom Best, ball in hand to resume from the Emerald stand end. So in comes Dom Best around the wicket. Balance pushes that wide of mid on and we'll get through for a single to bring up the 100 partnership. The first ball of this evening session then. Just under 30 overs remaining, keeping good time Somerset with the ball. I've been quite impressed actually right through the day and had meant to mention this earlier, but the moment must have passed that very quickly around between overs and on with the next over. Good to see. No messing. And not often you get to tea with just the 30 overs remaining in the day. So Best switches to over the wicket to the right-handed Tom Kohler-Cadmore.
Oh.
Who drives again wide of the same position but mid-off to the right-hander, and another single. He's on to 49. Welcome back, DT.
Yeah, just appreciating that shot there from Kohler-Cadmore. I thought didn't quite pick his spot, but a nice bit of timing straight after the interval.
So Best to Balance. Again, evidence of a bit of turn, but it was from roundabout off stump and going away from the left-hander who was able to shoulder arms. He's got a bit of company at Gary Balance, not only Steve Davis keeping, but a slip and a man in at silly mid-off. Breathing down the neck. Effectively short ball from Best and dispatched out to the western terrace boundary by Gary Balance. Probably didn't get a hold of it quite as he might, but no danger with no fielder out there. And it's a half-century for the Zimbabwean-born Gary Balance, and he's reached that landmark just a shade in advance of what his teammate will hope to do. And Balance is 51st first class 50 to go with 39 hundreds. Bess in again. Balance rocks back and just pushes that to the man at silly mid-off. And there is no run. Not sure why we've got any cue, because we're not in the throes of any bulletins at the moment. Last ball of the over is pushed back up the pitch by Balance to Best. No run. It's gone as soon as it came.
As if by magic.
Gary Balance's half century came from 135 deliveries.
Hopefully you've got streaming pictures if you want to watch the pictures as well. 9 fours in that Gary Balance 50, by the way. www.yorkshireccc.com/match-centre is the detail for getting the pictures linked in. And of course you've got commentary here on BBC Radio Leeds, all the Yorkshire stations, BBC Somerset and BBC Radio Bristol with Anthony Gibson, myself, Jonathan Doidge, and the man sat to my immediate right at the moment, David Townsend.
Did you know it's one of those few abbreviations that actually takes longer to say than what it's short for? World Wide Web, WWW.
Yeah. Whoa.
There is a technical name for that, but
Back to
I
infant
don't
school,
know
which
that
is, to be fair, it
Don't
often
know.
is broadcasting with your good self. JB Overton is going to resume then
I'd like to think junior school.
from the pavilion, the Kirkstall Lane end. Over the wicket to Tom Kohler-Cadmore. He was having a bit of a warm-up, hadn't been off the field long, had he, at tee, but he was out there zipping the ball into the baseball glove, as there's the modern way. And that first ball back was sharp enough from Overton. It was now 7.1 overs, 2 maidens, 0 for 31.
He bowled 3 overs in his first spell, expensively, and got hit for 6 over deep backward square by Adam Lyth, and much better second spell, just the 11 runs coming from 4 overs.
Here's Overton again, wide of off stump, and Kohler-Cadmore shoulders arms. The second time around. Cue for a song.
Is it?
Mm. I thought you might know that.
Second time around?
Mm.
No, I don't know that one.
I'll stop short of actually attempting to sing it.
Please, yes. Listeners will appreciate if you don't as well.
I hear dead listeners that my singing is very popular with the listeners. Thank you
Are
very
you
much.
a bit of a karaoke man yourself?
Overwhelmingly popular, I'm sure. In comes Overton. It's an attempted Yorker, I think, but ends up as being a half stump height full toss. Kohler-Cadmore blocks it.
Yeah, it was a little bit over pitch, that, from the quicker of the Overtons. Trying to get this mic right. Does that sound better?
Well, it does sound better apart from when you click it around instead of turning the microphone off first.
Sorry.
How many times, David Town, have I asked you to do that first? Detention. We're going to have some lines for you, I think, before the end of the day. So in comes Overton once again, that red stripe down the back of his pants. And Kohler-Cadmore is up to the task of defending this out into the offside where Don Bess fields. Bess, one of the 2 wickets to have fallen so far. 1 for 43 from 17 overs and 5 maidens. Just damps his hand down on the ground.
Yeah, we're playing going over the way somewhere. On its way to Leeds, Bradford, no doubt.
Overton again then. Going to come in past umpire Mike Burns. And again, wide of off stump, doesn't tempt Kohler-Cadmore into playing. Playing with discipline at the moment, Tom Kohler-Cadmore. And you might have noticed that I was probably in a roundabout way calling for some of that earlier in the day, so pleased to see it. Had a real long chat with him the other night after his second innings dismissal. No, probably his first innings. Anyway, the other night at Chelmsford. Overton in again to Kohler-Cadmore. That's wide of leg stump, straying again Overton. And it means that Kohler-Cadmore can clip it down to fine leg in front of the Emerald stand and take a warm round of applause and raise his bat too, because he's now got another first-class 50. That's 15 for him to go with 7 centuries in what is his 93rd first-class knock.
Yeah,
Kohler-Cadmore's half century came from 100 deliveries and included 8 fours.
so 8 fours, 100 deliveries. You no doubt heard that over the tannoy system. Nice of him to acknowledge not only the Yorkshire dressing room but also the commentary position here for after that half century, following Jonathan Doidge's chat with him the other night.
It was, yeah, clearly it's worked the oracle. As he steps back to this next best delivery and cuts it in front of, or cuts it to cover, in fact, TKC.
What do you say,
talk a bit
Doidge?
of sense into him, you see.
Doidge, I should be doing better than this. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, I admired his application at the bar, I've got to say, as Bess is in, and Kohler-Cadmore works this backward of square this time. Jack Brooks does the chasing. They're going to get through for a single. 51 now to Tom, 189 for 2. And when I say I admire his application, of course, I had a pint which included a small amount of alcohol, and Tom had a pint of water.
Oh, very good, very good. Could you see what you were drinking? It was a bright enough pub, was it?
It was the hotel bar, of course it was. Didn't need to take my own window cleaning ladders and bucket and sponge along as Bess is in from round the wicket and Balance pushes out to point. There's no run.
If anybody's wondering what this is about, my favourite pub in Leeds is the interior isn't bright, is it, shall we say?
So Bess in and Balance turns to leg. No run. Oh, just one sec. Got a text here asking me if I'll do a live update, which I can answer the call to now. Maybe that's what the queue was for, just in case I was ready to do one. Wasn't sure. Anyway, this is swept here by Gary Balance. He's got it away fine. There's a chase on for Van der Merwe, and he's on a sub at the moment, clearly. They've got back for 2 as he's pulled it in a couple of metres inside the fine leg boundary rope. Dickie Bird's been around in his resplendent, in his navy, or his Oxford blue blazer with that Cambridge blue and gold stripes. Getting emotional again. Dear old Dickie. Round the wicket comes Bess. That's outside off stump and Balance, shoulders, arms.
What was he getting emotional about this time? No particular reason.
I think just emotional that he was on Radio Leeds.
Excellent. Great man. Big friends with dear late Dave Callaghan as well. Dickie, we always remember when we go to Scarborough, and Callie used to have a quiz night for Dickie's Foundation. Used to be great fun.
So, Jamie Overton going to continue. I'll just have to hang around at 4:30 chaps to do a live update before I disappear. Just as a heads up on that one. So Yorkshire 191 for 2, Balance 54, Kohler Cadmore 51, and it's the latter who's on strike. 2 slips in place. Overton short of a length and just dropped into the mid-wicket region. There's a fair old chase on for Jack Brooks, who wouldn't be Whippet-like in getting to the ball. More sort of Shire horse-ish.
Yeah, fair enough.
And they got through for a single. 52, Kohler Cadmore 192 for 2. Partnership now at 110.
More like an old favourite Labrador, isn't he, if you're comparing him with a Whippet?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe the comparison of Whippet and Shire horse maybe stretching the parameters a little. Mr. Pedantic.
How the horse has been running for you recently then?
Well, if I'm being pedantic, they don't run for me.
Well, you know what I mean.
They run for their owners.
Yeah. But have they been kind to you? Or?
As you know,
you are a tipster. I know. I'm not suggesting you put any of your own money on it, but you know your reputation's at stake, isn't it?
Yeah. Last time I checked, they were going pretty well.
Good.
I think there was a recent day where I had to give 6 selections, do 6 different races, and 4 of them were winners. So
that's pretty good in anybody's money.
It's not bad.
Do they still have that tipster's chart in the?
They do. You wouldn't find me in there purely because, I'll tell you after this delivery, because Overton comes in to Balance, and that is down the leg side, and the Yorkshire left-hander misses out. Because when I do stuff for the Racing Post, it is under the guise of Spotlight, and they share the races around from various meetings, so I might only do 2 races from, let's say, Ripon today, and you might do the other 4, so it just is under the banner Spotlight. It'll have your name against each one, and I think there is a website where somebody does actually log every single one of those, but it's not like I check it regularly or anything. But in comes Overton. That's fired in at the legs of Balance again. Maybe he's had a look at that dismissal at Chelmsford the other day, because a couple now he's been aiming around about leg stump, and neither of which Balance has played successfully.
Is it the King George coming up soon?
It is actually. Well done. You've been reading that somewhere.
No. It's normally this time of year.
Are you normally there or something with the topper on?
No.
And it's not really a topper meeting, the King George. That's just obviously the royal meeting. So 192 for 2 as Overton's in again, short and cut nicely by Gary Balance, just using the pace of the ball. He's got it out to backward point. Would have gone for a 4, but it's been reeled in a metre or so short. And so they have to settle for 2. 56 to Balance, 194 for 2.
I remember they used to have 1 or 2 cracking races, didn't they? It's the chance for horses that missed out in the Derby to, or won the Derby to challenge themselves against older horses. Is that right?
You're
impressed, aren't you? No, I can remember. In fact, from back in the day, I know I might have got the Year Dancing Brave one wrong, but
Overton again, wide of off stump. Balance, shoulders, arms. Yeah, correct. It is. It has been a race over the years where the Derby winner might take on older horses, and of course we think back to.
There was one famous one when Pat Edry was riding one of them. I think did the Derby winner beat the 4-year-old? Can't remember. About 1977,
1975. They called it the race of the century. Grundy and Bustino.
Excellent. Yeah, was Pat Edry on one of them?
Edry was on Grundy.
Ah, there you go. You see.
The late great Pat. This is another short delivery from Overton. Not too short of a length, but misdirected. If he was thinking about getting Balance to play, he was happy to watch it go by. So it's one of those.
There you go. That's the end of our racing chat for today. We always have a racing chat of some sort.
We'll bring up at some point.
Fish and chips next.
And half the match at Essex with Paul Newton talking racing.
Oh yes, he's
at Paul's behest.
Oh, he loves his horses.
When you talk about cricket, you listen to cricket commentaries and listen to ex-players, and they talk about batsmen getting bowlers to bowl where they want them to. I think there's a feeling about this at the moment, that Yorkshire are maybe doing that.
Yeah.
There's plenty of good leaving going on to deliveries just, 4th stump line. And saying, if you're not going to bowl it straight, then we're happy to sit around and just build and build. And Bessie's next delivery has to be played up by Cola Cadmo, who turns it into the leg side, no run.
I get the feeling there's only one person's going to get Tom Cola Cadmo out this afternoon. And that's Tom Cola Cadmo.
In comes Bess. Cola Cadmo comes down the track to his former and soon to be again temporary teammate.
I think if he just minds his work, he's got a century there for the taking in this final session, although he's only on 52 at the moment.
I can hear the groans around the Yorkshire supporters listening in.
If he minds his work. I don't think Somerset have got means of getting him out at the moment. In fact, the only 2 wickets that have fallen today have really been gifted to them.
We've had a dot, and here comes Bess again. Cadmo drops his short leg, and again no run. And of course, it bears repeating that if you're going down the lines of thinking of commentator's curse, then the one man who openly says you can never get me out with a commentator's curse is this man, Tom Cola Cadmo, who turns his next ball to mid-wicket and there's no run. In fact, yeah, in a recent game, where was it? It might have been Scarborough. I think I was just saying that, and the next ball he got out. He does. He said, listen, I'll never ever criticise you for giving me a commentator's curse because it's nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Which is obviously correct. So Bess again over the wicket. And Cola Cadmo drives the ball back to the bowler. It's the end of over number 71. 25 remain in the day. It's been a good one for the home side without being perfect, but they would have certainly settled for 194 for 2. Having had an uncontested toss this morning and been asked to bat first.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about that. One of those tosses that you don't mind losing in retrospect. If you'd have offered them this, they'd have snapped your hand off. And we're just saying the 2 wickets that have fallen, the flick off the toes from Will Frayne when he was approaching his half-century, straight to square leg, loose shot just before lunch, and Adam Lyth just not getting on top of one. Gifted wickets, really.
Jamie Overton, good straight delivery this time, makes Gary Balance play. More of that will be required, I think, if Somerset are going to take further wickets, unless Yorkshire offer more up themselves.
Can you think of a batsman who plays closer to his body than Gary Balance? You hardly ever see he's just waiting for everything to reach him, isn't it? The bat is never more than a little bit away from the body. Never goes looking for it.
No, it seems to be really good technique, and when you consider the technical issues he had at certain times at test level, it's a bit of a surprise. But short ball, and he's pulled that one down to fine leg along the ground, I hasten to add, so he'll get through for a walk of a single, taking him on to 57, 195 for 2. Yeah, plays it very, very late and right under the eyes.
Yeah. See a lot of batsmen getting themselves into trouble, going out looking for the ball, hands well in front of the body. It's
Wonder what he went away and worked on after that little spell, when he seemed to be groping at everything, didn't he, out on and around off stump. Overton's next delivery, drivable length, and Kohler Cadmore does that, but it's been well fielded at cover.
yeah, Tom Abel again.
Yep.
It's Anthony Gibson was saying if you could add the runs that Tom Abel saves to his batting average, he'd probably be leading in the country.
Well, I mean, Anthony said right at the top of the piece today that I think before he even came on air, that Somerset boys' fielding was so sharp. That's been a real feature, and certainly nothing you've seen today would have you disagreeing with that assessment of where they're at, as Overton's next delivery is solidly blocked by Kohler Cadmore. I've got to say, Yorkshire, who were critical of themselves, particularly in the white ball competition earlier in the season, I think there were 2 or 3 games where they conceded a dozen, 20, I think even Andrew Gale said something like 30 runs he thought at Edgbaston, more than they should have done in the field there. They really have tightened up as well. There's been the odd dropped catch, and I know sometimes those things happen, but ground feeling has been much, much better in the last 3 or 4 championship games since the end of that white ball stint. Now then, good delivery here from Overton, beats Kohler Cadmore and wraps him on the pad. Looks like it might have been shaping to go down the leg side, even if it was low enough. But nonetheless, a win for the bowler. Quiet out there, isn't it, crowd-wise? Contented little hum from the home support. Not sure, would there be much in the way of travelling support for Somerset up here?
I would imagine there's a few, especially, you know, the position they are on the table.
Comes Overton again, short this time and pulled, well executed as well by Tom Kohler Cadmore. He's found the man at long leg and therefore will only get the 1. But that was nicely played. 53 to him, 196 for 2 come the end of that over. If you are in the crowd, if you are listening to us, and if you are a Somerset supporter, then give us a shout. Give us a wave. Where are you? At Jonathan Doidge, at Ant Gibb, at DT Cricket, or BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com are your points of contact.
Yeah, it'd be nice to hear from you.
And we've got a few tweets in to catch up with. In fact, a few retweets, but Grumpy Git has been back on.
Oh, is he?
News of my football team on TBE on the first day of the new season, 5-0 at half time. So a very good start. Just need a clatter of wickets to make it a perfect afternoon.
Football's not started again, surely.
Sounds like it. Don Bess pushed back up the pitch by Kohler Cadmore, no run. Yeah, Guiseley, the team nearest to where I live, had their traditional pre-season match against Leeds United the other day. I think it ended in a draw. Bess in. Kohler Cadmore turns it to short leg, where it's fielded by Tom Banton under the lid, and there is no run. He also says shared from BBC Sport, Berwick Rangers v Ayr United. Does that mean?
Yeah.
That means it's 5-0 to Berwick against Ayr.
Scottish League Cup.
Bess is blocked here, or rather his delivery is by Cola Cadmore out into the offside, and there's no run. And Stephen says, when you talk about the King George, I think of a national hunt race at Kempton on Boxing Day. You mean a different one. Yes, the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes to give it its full title, as Bess is in, and Cola Cadmore turns it to mid-wicket without thought of a run. The King George, as I would also refer to it, Stephen, is indeed the King George VI steeplechase on Boxing Day. Great race that is.
Yes, Berwick Rangers 5-0 down to Ayr at home.
Right. Cola Cadmore pushing this next best delivery, and it's just a little bit of cat and mouse here, I think, between these two.
It's normally 50p in the pot for mentioning the F-ball game, but I think this time of the year we better make it £1.
Bess in, and Cola Cadmore this time wins that little battle of cat and mouse by flicking it wider of the fielder at mid-wicket and picking up a single. 54 to him, 197 for 2. I quite like the little playoff between the two there. Bess has kept saying, go on, I'm still going to keep dropping it there. If you're going to hit it there, you want to hit it past him, take a chance. And it might have been just an inch in the line that Bess strayed slightly leg side this time, and Cola Cadmore got it squarer. Good bit of cricket, even though it might not have been headline grabbing Alan Donald and Michael Atherton sort of stuff.
Yeah, nice little tussle though, isn't it? Nice little tussle. Let's have a look at some of the scores around the country. Shall I see what's happening? Scores on the doors.
Yep, after Sean in Rounday's tweet, which says, evening chaps, risky I know, but think batting is going okay. Time to break out the rhubarb gin with dandelion and burdock. Keep up the good work. Pop in, Sean, with a glass of that.
Oh yeah, that sounds good, Sean.
That'd be nice. Change of bowling, Tom Abel back on from the pavilion end.
And scores around the country. Somerset fans will be delighted to know Essex are struggling. 178 for 7 against Warwickshire. Hampshire moving along nicely. 202 for 2. They're not really close enough. They would have to win all their remaining games, I think, to challenge for the title, but they're not going down either. Abel bowls, and that's defended. Surrey 208 for 6 against Nottinghamshire at Trent Bridge. Durham have recovered. 83 for 6, or they're recovering up there. That's been hit by rain, that game. Middlesex 235 for 7 down at Cardiff. And Lancashire 71 for no wicket in reply to Sussex's 127 all out.
Oh no. Here comes Abel. And this just straightens on Cola Cadmore. Plays it back up the pitch, no run.
Not quite sure what's going on with Sussex at the moment. I know the coach is about to sign an extended contract down there.
Is that right? You've got the inside word from Diz, have you?
Loves living down there, doesn't he, Diz? He's an old hippie, and he just loves that lifestyle down in Hove.
He's Abel again, right arm over. Cola Cadmore shouldering arms. How could he possibly prefer that to God's own county?
Don't say he prefers it. He loves it.
The broad acres.
Diz is one of those guys. You go around the country. We were up in Scarborough a few years ago. Oh, I could live in Scarborough, you know. And then you go and have a couple of beers with Callie back in the day. Oh, I could live in Wetherby.
Next ball blocked by Cola Cadmore.
And now he could live in Hove. I think Hove is just suited to him. They've got more vegan restaurants in Hove per square mile than anywhere else in the country, I think. So he's well sorted down there.
And you, David Townsend, you just live in hope. Here's Abel in once again over the wicket, passes Mike Burns, and once more it's wide of off stump. And Cola Cadmore shouldering arms. We've had 73.5 overs, so closing in on a second new ball here, of course, as well.
Yeah, I think that's what we'll see.
Well,
Tom Abel bustling through a few overs with Bess at the other end, and then the new ball.
Cola Cadmore is back and cuts in front of point, but can't get it past cover in the end, and that's the end of that Abel over then. So 74 bowled, 6 before the new ball can be taken, 197 for 2, balance 57, Kohler Cadmore 54. And when I've done this Radio Leeds update, whenever that may be, in the next minute or two, if we get some cue, then I'll pop off, and I've got to go speak to BBC Humberside next door. It's all go today, lads. It's all go. John has emailed in, BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com. John Logan, the Johnny Logan. He says, "Hi JD, sorry to correct you as you're very knowledgeable, but the pre-season football game between Guiseley and Leeds didn't end in a draw. Leeds won 2-1. Thanks for that." I was misinformed by my number 2 son then on that one. Short ball here from Bess, and dispatched by Gary Balance, who lofted it over. I think it's Tom Abel, isn't it? In at mid-wicket. Is it Hildreth at mid-wicket? Sorry. And a couple of bounces, and it makes its way into the Western Terrace 4-4, which takes Yorkshire past 200, and of course therefore means that they have their first batting bonus point, and that has been a major criticism of this Yorkshire side so far this season. If anybody's emailed in with a criticism of the batting, it's because they haven't got nearly enough batting points for the likes of supporters. That's not a bad start with 8 wickets still in hand. As Balance then, with the man dispatched now back, sweeping Azhar Ali, I think it is, on the mid-wicket, well, square leg, boundary really just in front of square. Next ball's pushed back by Balance, no run.
Bit of a holding operation this, isn't it? Pending the new ball.
Yeah, Abel one end, bit of maybe more defensive bowling here from Don Bess, who throws it up outside off stump, and Balance pushes it up to mid-off, no run. It was Abel doing the fielding there. It's the starting to get used to the faded caps like Gary Balance and Adam Lyth in the Yorkshire rank. Short ball this time from Bess, and cut away to the man sweeping out in the covers, and Balance gets a single, 62 for him, 202 for 2. Update time. Just a little adjustment or two in the field. Slip in place, short leg in place as well. Don Bess very precise about where he wants his sweeper on the mid-wicket boundary. Might be moving the pigeon as well, who's there at sort of mid-wicket at the moment. He's just having a wander out of position. And now he's also sending back a sweeper, Jack Brooks, deep backwards square leg boundary. Nazar Ali is coming across to a fairly fine, short, fine leg. So it comes better round the wicket. Kohler Cadmore works it past short leg. Picked up a single, not dissimilar fashion in the previous over, but didn't quite get enough on that. And so Abel does the fielding, and there's no run. Bess floats this one up to Kohler Cadmore, gets it where he wants it this time, squarer, and they will pick up a stroll of a single. 55 to him, 203 for 2. Pretty good, I can see you over there, Jamie, that shiny white Bee Gees smile, the glint of the Yorkshire, the Headingley sunshine. 203 for 2 at the moment. Gary Balance is at 62 not out, as you know, and Tom Kohler Cadmore not out on 55. It's a real good partnership, this, for Yorkshire, of 121 since they gifted a couple of wickets, didn't they, this morning to Somerset, with Will Frayne caught by Bess off Brooks for 45, and then Adam Lyth following shortly afterwards caught Abel, bowled Bess for 35. 83 for 2 at lunch. They added 98 without being broken in that afternoon session. They've both passed 50 since then, and there's still 21 overs remaining today. Could be an interesting passage of play coming up shortly, though. At this moment in time, it looks like a bit of a holding period between these two bowlers and the Yorkshire batsman. Tom Abel on at the moment from the pavilion end. Don Bess bowling to a bit of a defensive, negative-looking field from the Emerald stand end. And we're less than 5 overs now from when Somerset can take the second new ball, when things might start to fire up a little bit more. But Yorkshire will be very happy with their day so far. having had an uncontested toss and been put into bat by Somerset. They're 203 for 2. Next ball is a dot. He's been looking pretty good in terms of the fact that he's taken a wicket. You certainly wouldn't say he's bowled badly. He's gone for just the 53 from 21 overs, bowled 6 maidens. Yorkshire did put a little bit of pressure on him in the early stages, but you know, I think that Somerset will be, I suppose, not too dissatisfied with how he's bowled. Let's face it, it is a first couple of sessions on the first day of a championship match at Headingley pitch, so you wouldn't expect him to be ragging it square, but he has got some turn. And he's bowled in the main with pretty good control, but just as a unit, Somerset at the moment, as I say, having been gifted a couple of wickets, you'd probably be, as a Somerset supporter, just a little bit disappointed that you're not batting first on this strip. It's been hard work for the bowlers. Thanks, Jamie, and thanks, fellas. It's time for me to step out and leave you with Anthony and DT.
Here comes Tom Abel. He's in to bowl to Balance outside the off stump and just helped away through the offside. It was a full toss, low full toss, and Balance actually did reach for that one and reached for it very effectively. Picks up 2 runs, and it's actually Dave Townsend's turn to be doing the commentary. I shall be very content with the summariser's role for the next half an hour or so, Dave.
Yeah, as we move towards that new ball. Yes, thanks for doing that that one delivery, Anthony. I have many talents, but being able to commentate without the microphone isn't one of them. Abel bowls, and that's just shaping in a little bit to the left-handed Balance. The pigeon's causing a bit of a problem out there at the moment. They've tried to chase it away, and it looks as though it's having a game with them. Is that Tom Banton who's pursuing it, and then it's left us. Abel bowls, and again just a nice little bit of shape into the left-hander, but no run to be had from there. And
end of the over. I've
that's
just tweeted that bowling is very hard work out there for Somerset at the moment. I'm consoling myself with the thought that last Sunday Nottinghamshire were 200 for 2 at Taunton and were bowled out for 241. No, last Monday it was, they were 200 for 2, bowled out for 241. But I have to say there isn't much sign of anything very similar happening here this afternoon. The bowlers aren't getting anything really out of this pitch. Batsmen are playing well, playing every ball on its merits, and conditions very batsman friendly at the moment.
Bess from the new stand end, and that's pushed into the
We're calling it the new stand end.
Well,
that's another one. That's
new stand end, the emerald
we've called
stand
it the football stand, we've called it the rugby stand, we've called it the emerald stand, and the new stand.
Next delivery is pushed firmly back to the bowler.
I hadn't realised that this was the first time that the new stand has been available for spectators to use
in the county championship.
Yeah.
Next ball played firmly, driven back by the right-handed Coley Cadmore to Dom Bess, who's just bustling through these overs. It's tremendous to see this over rate from Somerseters. Bess bowls again, gets a bit of work on that. A shout of catch. It was in the air a little way, but nowhere near getting out as far as deep. Backward square, one more to Coley Cadmore. He moves to 57. Balance is on 64, 207 for 2. I was here for the West Indies versus Afghanistan game towards the end of the World Cup, and nice to see the stand full down there. Best bowls, and that's punch square where Jack Brooks does the fielding. Just the one slip now for Gary Balance. Backward point, cover on the boundary, extra cover, straightish mid-off. Straight and deep, really, the same as mid-on, mid-wicket. What are we going to call him? Man on the 45. You know the position. And a
Straight-
deep square leg.
Straight mid wicket, I suppose.
And that's beaten the man on the 45. A little glance from a quicker ball there for Gary Ballots, and that's going to go all the way for 4 despite
Tom Banton, that
Tam
is chasing
Banton
it.
chasing it back with the helmet on. Never going to get there. Balance now just starting to move ahead of Tom Kohler-Cadmore. 60,
Yes, they've been
69,
making
68 rather, plays 57.
they've been making steady progress, but not really spectacular progress. Going along at just under 3 runs and over.
What would you be looking to do if you were Somerset captain at the moment, Anthony?
Hope that the new ball does rather more than the previous one.
You would just carry on and
I think,
bumble
what
through
they're
these
doing,
3 overs. and then
I'm slightly surprised that Tom Abel is bowling rather than Tim Grunewald, because he's got 3 new ball bowlers up his sleeve, the Overton twins and Jack Brooks, so it isn't as if he needs Grunewald for the new ball.
It's got a little bit of swing though, hasn't he, Abel? And there again, you just see a bit of shape, but it goes very early. And
I have to feel a bit sorry. Somebody made this point on Twitter earlier on today for Josh Davey, who has bowled really well in the games that he has played, which haven't been very many. You see, three matches.
he's Abel again, and late decision to leave that one by Kohler-Cadmore.
And all right, he only took 4 wickets, but he bowled very well in the One Day Cup as well. And it must have been a very close decision between him and Tim Grunewald.
He's a good cricketer, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
And Davey.
Not so young though.
Well, no.
27, I think.
Next ball through to the keeper. No run there, of course. Has he given up playing for Scotland for the time being?
I don't think he's played for them recently. I think that the only reason for that is that I don't think Scotland have played any much cricket recently. I think he'd still. Well, I'm not sure.
He was a bit concerned over his qualification or whatever, wasn't he? Abel Bowles shapes it away from the right-hander through to the keeper, and we're really having just almost treading water ahead of this new ball at the moment. We're in the 78th over.
No sign of any rain.
211 for 2.
Weather forecast got it completely wrong, didn't they? It's actually the weather's got better this afternoon rather than worse.
It depends which one you go with, really.
That was the BBC.
Next ball is shorter outside the off stump and crashed into the offside for comfortable 2 by Kohler-Cadmore. Bit of a chase round the boundary for one of the Overtons. I'm not even going to try. Jamie?
I think that's Craig.
Yeah, okay.
But yes, it is Craig.
Okay.
It is Craig. Jamie's at
Sort
Gully.
of, yeah, well,
fifth slip or whatever you want to call it.
probably I'll give him 4th slippers. Abel Bowles, and that's
Shot.
a lovely drive. That's the shot of the day. Ball outside the off stump. He's found the gap between extra cover and mid off, and that's raced away to the boundary. Glorious drive there from Kohler-Cadmore. Takes him to 63 now. Balance 68, 217 for 2.
Juicy half volley, dispatched with style.
Might have been just short of a half volley. I don't know.
All right. It was
Well, I won't. Yes,
a full length then,
Yeah, certainly dispatched. with
swinging
style.
away outside the off stump and inviting the cover drive.
You
And it was very well played.
You would still fancy putting that one away yourself, Anthony, by the way you're gesticulating,
I don't know.
playing.
I doubt very much if I'd got a bat on it. He's quite seriously quick, is Tom Abel, by standards of ordinary mortals.
When was the last time you had a bat in your hand?
About 3 years ago.
Oh, okay. Fair play. Bess Bowles will probably be the last over from him in this spell. It's the 79th of the innings, and his ball is pushed back to him. It's his 23rd over, 1 for 58. as he comes round the wicket to the left-handed Balance, who waits for that and sweeps it away all along the ground down to a long leg. Deep back of square can't get round. He's just Azhar Ali jogging around to collect the ball, and that's another boundary to
Runs coming a little bit more freely
Balance.
just at the moment.
Yeah, Balance.
Somerset cricket just losing some of its intensity as they wait for the second new ball.
Best bowls again. Fair bit of action put on that as it's pushed back down the pitch to him.
Body language is still pretty good, but just one or two loose balls being taken full toll of by the Yorkshire batsman.
Big shout for LBW there, this next delivery. It was a quicker one, and Balance, I think, just got outside the line of it a little bit. Maybe
It was a bit
striking
of bat in
pad before bat.
there. Well,
as
I think that's
that
what
was the,
Bess
that was the shout.
was hoping for, yeah.
Looked a little awkward. The plane flies over, and nothing awkward about that. Long way forward, head over the ball. Defensive back to the bowler. And rapidly approaching the end of this over. My word, these overs do tick away with Don Best bowling. And bowls a slightly quicker ball there. Balance waits for
Well
it.
fielded.
And a diving stop by Jack Brooks. Diving to field that like anyone who doesn't want to turn and chase it back to the boundary. Excellent stop from former Yorkshire player, former Northampton Yorkshire player, I suppose we can say, can't we? 221 for 2 then at the end of that over.
Tom Banton dispensing with his helmet and fielding pads.
I think that indicates that that was Bess's last over for a while. And this will be Tom Abel's last over, and then we'll have the new ball, and we'll have 16 overs for Somerset to claw themselves back into this. This
Might have a few more than 16 actually.
it's possible, isn't it? Yeah. Minimum of 16. I can't remember the last time I commentated on a full day's play that finished at 6 o'clock. Abel bowls, and that's pushed up to mid-on, no run.
Well, you haven't been down to Taunton this year, have you?
Yeah, I've been skipping through their overs, have they?
Yep.
Good to see. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen.
It was most noticeable in the game against Hampshire. Hampshire are painfully slow in the way, you know, you've got Fidel Edwards walking back about 30 yards and Kyle Abbott, you know, and James Fuller.
Abel bowls and punched off the back foot. Tumbling stop
But it's
at cover.
it's not just the distance that the bowlers run in, it's the fact that with Somerset, when they've bowled it, they start to get back to their mark, whereas the modern way with quick bowlers is to stand in the middle of the pitch until the bit of fielding has been completed, and then the wicket keeper tosses it back to the bowler, and then he starts his walk back.
Next delivery, almost identical punch to Banton at extra cover.
See, Tom Abel out there already marching smartly back.
I think sometimes Jamie Overton might pause and perhaps have a word with the batsman.
Yeah, but I mean, he tends to follow through until he's sort of 6 inches from the batsman's nostrils. But he doesn't hang around. He's not a slouch.
Next delivery, pitched up, pushed to mid-off this time.
I must ask Jason Kerr, the coach, as to whether it's deliberate policy or whether it's just the way these
I think
bowlers play.
I think you do just get into a habit, don't you?
Yeah.
You know, you start doing. You set the tempo, and it's a brisk tempo. Abel bowls, and Kohler Cadmore looks for the gap on the onside. Brooks across the field from mid-on. This should be the last ball of this edition of the ball. The old red leather's done its job. been belted a few times. It's had a fairly sedate 80 overs, though, hasn't it? It's sort of a
couple of sixes.
221 for 6, and the final delivery is pushed up to mid-off, so that is indeed a maiden over. And retirement, I think, for that ball, and time for a young, untried ball to see what it can do.
Well, he's been accurate and economical, Tom Abel. 8 overs for 13 runs, but not penetrative, and I think that can be said for most of the Somerset bowlers. Craig Overton, 13 overs, none for 31. Jack Brooks, 14 overs, 1 for 42. Tim Grunewald, 12 overs for 30. Jamie Overton, 10 overs, none for 37. Don Best, 23 overs, 6 maidens, 1 for 62. Tom Abel, as I was saying, 8 overs for 13. So they've been economical, but wickets have been very hard to come by. Here comes Big Craig, coming round the wicket to the left-handed Gary Balance. The slip cordon being modestly reinforced.
Yeah, a couple of slips and a gully. 3 saving, 1 on the off, and then the routine leg side field, really, mid-on. More a square leg than a mid-wicket, and a fine leg. As Overton bowls, and Balance says thank you very much. That sits up, and he just eases it away back with a square 4-4. Not the most auspicious start with a new ball.
They have actually taken it, have they? I wasn't watching.
Oh, good point. Let's have a look. See what that is. No, that was still the old ball, because Jack Brooks is about to throw it off the field.
That's it. Just had the one loosener with the old ball.
225 for 2. So new cherry in hand. Craig Overton bowls, and Balance plays that back to him. Overton has a look at the ball.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new ball has been taken.
And there's confirmation that the new ball has been taken.
I must say the public address here is commendably audible.
Sorry?
It's commendably... no, the public address, not the commentator, may not be commendably audible. But
How do you there, Anthony? How do you there? Here's Overton bowling, and clipped through mid-wicket, away to the long boundary down there at the corner of the New Emerald stand and the Western Terrace.
that's the downside of taking the new ball, in that goes that much faster off the bat.
Chase out there for Jack Brooks, who'll no doubt be bowling the next over from this Kirkstall Lane end. That one did race away, takes Balance into the 80s. He's on exactly 80. Curly Cadmore 63, 229 for 2. 2 boundaries in this over, and now square legs going back. Is he going to try a short delivery, or is that just a very defensive measure?
We shall see.
6-3 field, round the wicket poles to the left-hander, and a cracking delivery that beats him. Now, if you beat Gary Balance when he's on 80, that's a good ball, and that ball pitched somewhere in line of off stump and left him, and he sort of jerked back. Attempt to get out of the way. The ball had already gone, of course, but batsmen instinctively do that. See what Overton does with this one. Bowls, and get a little bit more into that, and defended by the left-hander. Yeah, it's going to be Brooks. He's doing his warming up exercises, again familiar to Yorkshire fans. Former Yorkshire fast bowler. He's facing the wrong way as Overton comes in. Oh, he's okay now. He bowls, and big gaps on the leg side. They've got 1. They could probably have come back for 2 there, but Brooks eventually gets round to do the fielding, chasing from mid-on to square leg. Stays at square leg, takes his cap off as he walks in with the umpire, because that's the end of the over, and Brooks will bowl the next over. Somerset desperately in need of a wicket. So look what's been coming in on the tweet. Steve Tancott very kindly tweeting that picture of him with the headsets on and saying it's great to meet us. Yes, well, we know that, Steve, but thank you. So yeah, grumpy Git, as we've already read out, complaining that his team is 5-0 down, and he's been in touch again. Somerset cricket not great since tea, really. Every bowler is leaking runs, ergo no pressure being created.
I think that's probably fairly accurate.
Worrying because all eggs now in the new ball basket. If it doesn't work, what then? And Gibb.
Well,
real pressure.
We've still got the new ball. That's what we're pinning our Somerset hopes on at the moment.
Brooks, with the new ball in his hand, finds it driven back past him. Good tumbling stop there by Groeneveld at mid-on. And that drive from Balance doesn't get past him. 81 to Balance, 63 to Kola Cadmore. 230 for 2. Brooks, the headband warrior, around the wicket, pitches up and driven square, and that's got through a tumbling Donbass. Tried to stop it at point, but it's beaten him on a way to the boundary in front of the empty Western Terrace. More applause. Indeed, that applause is for the 150 partnership. 152 runs from 305 balls, so my maths is correct. That's just about 3 runs per over. And
it's been a very pragmatic partnership.
Oh, good word. Yes. Patient.
They've played every ball on its merits.
Prudent.
They
How
haven't,
many more words can we come
Well,
up
they
with
haven't gone after it, have they?
No.
They've just picked up the runs when the runs have been there to be picked up.
Brooks bowls and shorter delivery that Balance waits for. Just plays it off his thigh, really, out to deep square leg for 1 run. He moves to 86. 235 for 2. Brooks desperately needs a wicket. He's got a right-hander on strike now.
He hasn't bowled very well, Jack Brooks.
He's one of those bowlers that can suddenly click, though. So he bowls there, and that's played away off the thigh pad. I think it will be a leg by. Let's wait for the decision. Indeed it is. So 1 more to the total, but Kola Cadmore remains on 63. 236 for 2.
699 for 8 against Warwickshire.
Well,
Chelmsford.
Brings you a little bit of joy, doesn't it? But
Well,
although wickets falling, does that mean it's another
Will
result?
Will Rhodes has got 4 wickets.
Pitched up, driven, and very well fielded there. That extra cover. Is that the skipper?
It is, yeah, it's Tom Abel.
Got down very quickly to get hold of that.
Sets a wonderful example in the field. Slightly worrying that so soon after the new ball has been taken, we've got an offside sweeper being set back.
Yeah, I don't. Would you be happy with that? Balance on strike, the left-hander bowls, and the sweeper's going to come into action. Whether he can get round there, that's cut away down to third man. A desperate scamper around the boundary, but in vain. Can't get there, Don Best. That's another boundary, and Balance really is motoring now. 90 to Balance. And
that was a poor over,
63.
wasn't it?
Not a good over from Brooks. 15 overs, no maidens, 1 for 51. But, as we've said many times, he can just click. And now we've got a drinks break.
We have, which
umpire
gives me the chance to run through the scores from the other matches when I've already said Essex 199 for 8. For Dean Elgar, Ricky Clark 34. They just lost a wicket. 236 for 8.
Oh, nobody likes to hear that.
I like Surrey. Surrey have gone back to their roots under the influence of
That's true. That's
Alex
true.
Stewart.
They're a lot more lovable team than they were.
And
a few
a lot
years
of
back.
their young players are homegrown. Durham 87 for 6 in the second division against Worcester. It's raining there. Chester Street, Middlesex 290 for 8. They're going
290 or 90?
90
Oh,
for 8 against Glamorgan.
I'd be very happy with that.
Sussex 127, Lancashire 100 for no wicket. I bet Dizzy Gillespie is really loving that.
He bowled out for just over 100 twice against Northampton in their last match. Week off, or playing Australia A, and then that performance. That's not good, is it?
No, you're not missing any cricket. They've had the drinks break. Now there's been a big conflab between bowler and captain. But eventually, play is going to resume with Craig Overton bowling from the football stand end. He's in and bowls, and defensive shot from Tom Kohler-Cadmore doesn't bring him a run.
I'll hand over to Jonathan Doidge.
240 for 2. Kevin Howells appears at the back of the box looking... he's got a big smile on his face. Here's Overton in and bowls to Kohler-Cadmore, who just drops that into the onside for a single. 241 for 2. Kohler-Cadmore on to 64. What's his best for? 83 is his best for Yorkshire this season. Tom Kohler-Cadmore. Where did he get the 83? Is that at Scarborough?
He got his 83 here.
Oh, here.
I think. Let me just...
Here's Overton bowling to Balance, who lays back and goes for the cut and manages to slice it through the slips.
Yeah, he got his 83 here in the drawn game against Essex, and that was the only innings that Yorkshire had in the match, or only innings he had in the match, which kind of ties in, really, doesn't it? That when he makes a significant contribution, then they can put some pressure on the opposition.
Well, he's batted well here today. It's Overton to Balance, though, who's stretching forward. Plays it out to the offside. Tom Abel comes sprinting in to do the fielding. I wonder what he thinks now about his decision. Or it was probably a collective Somerset decision. Not to have a toss this morning, but to ask Yorkshire to bat. I think that was probably a case of the Headingley reputation
Preceding them.
Yeah. Oh, and that nearly gets through. Defensive shot from Balance just takes the inside edge and drops down in the crease. But, no harm done. Have we established what Yorkshire would have done, Jonathan, if they'd won the toss?
No, my apologies, but having rushed across to various other radio stations in between stints, I haven't pinned that one down. My apologies for that.
That's all right. There's radio stations around every corner here at Headingley today. Overton's in and bowls outside off stump, bent his back there. That went through at good height to Stephen Davis, but well left by Gary Balance, who is on 90. Tom Kohler-Cadmore on 64. These two came together when Adam Lythe was out, when the score was 82, so they've added 159 together. And they've been 159 pretty trouble-free runs.
Eugene is in the crowd. Oh, sorry, not in the crowd, he says. I was asking last time I was on, which feels like an eternity ago, to give us a shout if you're in the crowd and a Somerset supporter. He says, not in the crowd, but sat in my Somerset garden, listening, waiting patiently for the clatter of wickets before stumps.
Well, there isn't a clatter of a wicket there, as that's played out into the onside by Kohler-Cadmore. He'll pick up another run, 242 for 2.
And it sort of feels, dare I say it, an unusually placid Headingley playing surface.
It does.
So either way, it's going to take a little bit of work to work out a result here.
It is. I would be more confident in predicting that a high-scoring draw, were it not for the fact that Somerset's batting is a little bit fragile. So this is outside the off stump to Balance, and Yorkshire with Duan Olifier and Keshav Maharaj have got a couple of potentially match-winning bowlers.
Long way to go. Have you read Grumpy Git's latest
No, I don't know what.
tweet out? He says, not great cricket since tea, really. Every bowler leaking runs, yeah.
Yeah, that spell just after tea, when they were sort of waiting for the new ball, it wasn't a great spell of Somerset cricket. Brooks is in and bowls too far outside the off stump, no shot from balance.
And he's been on again saying, on performances over the last 2 matches, surely Jamie Overton would have been the better new ball option. I don't think Brooks has performed well enough all season.
I don't think he's been at his best, but I also think that Jamie Overton, he usually comes on first or second change, as that's outside the off stump, and he bowls very well with the slightly less new ball, if I can put it that way. He bowls well with the old ball as well. Can get it to reverse swing when conditions are right. But you would expect Jack Brooks to bowl well here. He's taken stacks of wickets here at Headingley over the years, but he's just not found a consistent enough line and length. He's there now, bowls. And again, too wide of off stump. He's not making the batsman play, and that's the cardinal sin. With a new ball in your hand, if you're going to take advantage of it, you've got to get the batsman playing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously just wearing away at that shine, and not only that, but of course just using up energy. So it's a second new ball, let's not forget that. He's into what is now his 16th over, so he's not getting in, well, that horrible cliche, he's not getting any younger, but you know what I'm saying, the years are advancing, it's going to be...
I do, he's there now, bowls, full length delivery outside off stump, which Balance is looking to drive through the offside, fails to make good contact, makes some contact, doesn't get a run, end of the over, and at the end of it, Yorkshire 242 for 2.
Ken has emailed in. BBC West Yorkshire Sport at gmail.com is the address. He says, hello Jonathan and friends, good to meet you and see your Scarborough office, Cali too. Yeah, Ken popped up to see us the other week during that fab week on the East Coast. He says, let's forget about this last week. A solid start today from Adam and Will, now Tom and Gary building on that really well. I said to Barbara before the start of play, 400 for 2 by 110 overs, bowl Somerset out for under 200 and win by an innings. That'll have their lead over us. Looking like a possibility at the moment. Wink. Ken down in Norwich. Well, yeah, I mean, being optimistic, on the way towards that, it's still possible.
Here's Craig Overton in and bowls to Cola Cadmore, who hits that hard but straight to Dom Bess, who makes a sharp stop look very easy, and he gets a low 5 by way of congratulation from Azhar Ali.
I think what is good to see today is, yes, okay, we've probably queried both the dismissed batsmen saying that they helped Somerset to get those wickets, but in general the team has played, the 4 batsmen who've been out there have played with more composure, much more composure than we saw first up against Essex at Chelmsford last week.
Here's Overton in and bowls, and that's driven, but straight up to mid-on, and there won't be mid-off rather. There won't be a run. I think all 4 of the Yorkshire batsmen have batted with common sense application. It's been a very professional batting performance by Yorkshire on a pitch that hasn't offered the bowlers anything very much. I don't think Somerset have bowled particularly badly. I don't think they've bowled particularly well either. They've been plugging away, as Overton is doing now, and just squares Cola Cadmore up on that occasion. The ball squirts rather off outside edge out into the covers. But I can't remember a day's cricket this season where there have been fewer plays and misses, or even really false shots. It isn't as if that, there've been loads of near misses. It's been pretty trouble-free batting, certainly since lunch.
But of course, gents, as we all know, you can't assess a pitch until
both sides have batted on it. The binoculars go flying, and Dom Bess goes flying too. A terrific stop there, moving to his right from backward point, gets a low 5 in congratulation from his captain as the sun comes out.
I think we should get DT drawing up some cricket cliche bingo board at the back there and just put it in front of us, and we'll tick them off as we go along.
I think I came up with a good one the other day when I said this game is all about the number of runs that are going to be scored. It is Overton in and bowls, and again there's no run as George Bartlett, who's had a quiet time in the field this afternoon. Most of the Tom Banton's been very much in the action. Tom Abel's always in the action. Don Bess certainly has. The Overton twins haven't had much to do in the field. Azhar Ali has had quite a few chases down to the boundary, sometimes successfully, other times in vain. But the batsman very much in control at the moment as Craig Overton is in and bowls to Kola Cadmore, gets that off an open face, and it'll run down to the wide third man boundary for 4 runs. Don Bess fruitlessly in pursuit. 4 more runs, 246 for 2.
Yeah, pretty nicely played really by Tom Kola Cadmore. He's seen the gap before. He's played the same sort of shot before lunch, I think, as well. So yeah, as you say, 69 for 2. And other cricketing cliches. Of course, we are here at Headingley, which is a result pitch. The ball will do all sorts, both through the air and off the pitch.
I'm not sure it is a result pitch though. This one.
Has there ever been a cricket match played where a player playing for one team used to play for the other team, and that doesn't add an extra bit of spice?
Extra bit of spice, yeah, that's good. Jack Brooks then, the headband warrior. Here he comes, short approach. Ooh, and that's, well, I think he deliberately played that down into the gully. It went first bounce to one of the Overtons. That's Craig at, I think it's Craig anyway, in the gully, and Jamie at second slip.
We also should have had a running count on headband warrior during the game, shouldn't we?
Should,
as well?
yeah.
Remiss of us not to have started that at 11 o'clock this morning,
Not sure
or even before.
Headband. I'm not sure he's the happiest cricketer out there at the moment, Jack Brooks. This is wide outside the off stump. There's just something about his body language at the moment which suggests that he's not really enjoying this very much. And Tim Grunewald's just doing 1 or 2 stretches down there, loosening himself up. He's going to be brought into the attack, I would guess, from this end to replace Jack Brooks, who really hasn't bowled very well with the new ball. His first over with it, he was taken for 2 boundaries. He's been less expensive, but only because he's been bowling too far outside the off stump subsequently. That does require a defensive shot from Gary Balance, but straight back to the bowler.
Michael has tweeted, "Your pep talk to TKC looks to have worked. Will you be talking to Rooty and Bluey tonight?" Definitely. After the next stint, I'll get a quick call into the pair of them.
Yeah, big day tomorrow, isn't it?
But it was seriously really good to have a good long chat with Tom the other night. And when people sometimes...
Here's Brooks to Balance, no shot to a ball, another ball, yet another ball wide of off stump.
People sometimes quick to judge players when they get out, as we've been talking about. These two have gone already today, playing a shot that spectators, maybe teammates, maybe themselves don't agree they should have played, and they think that they're, profligate and that they just waste opportunities. Very interesting to talk to these people for a while and just listen to what they've got to say and their approach. And thinking cricketer, I think, Tom Kola Cadmore.
Here's Brooks, bowled short, pulled away down to long leg for 4 runs. Poor delivery, good shot, kept it down, timed it beautifully. There is a fielder down at long leg, but he had absolutely no chance of cutting that off, even though it was only around about 10 yards to his right. Gary Balance moves on to 94.
Yeah, and I know what you're saying.
250 is on the board.
Saying about Jack's demeanour and body language. He's got a bit of a teapot on after that delivery, which nobody else to blame really but himself for sticking it halfway down the pitch. And a man who's in the 90s is not going to miss out there.
Here he comes again. It's a better ball on middle and off, and defended by Balance. Coda Cadmore looking to steal a single, which was never there, as Jack Brooks was quickly onto it. He's going to get just a word of encouragement from his wicket-keeper, Stephen Davis, as he passes him on as Somerset close catches jog from one end to the other at the end of each over, which again is helps to account for their very respectable over rate. End of that over, 250 for 2, 94 to Balance, 69 to Coda Cadmore.
Yeah, Craig Overton, who is wicketless to continue from the Emerald stand end. And I said that again, Craig Overton is wicketless because at 5:16 on the opening day, having asked the opposition to bat first, I did not expect the opening bowlers to have taken just one wicket between them.
Certainly. Well, I think they misjudged conditions, not just the pitch, but the atmospheric conditions as well. So Overton bowls to Cadmore outside the off stump. There's always I mean, this morning I was thinking, well, they might ask Yorkshire to bat, but the old adage is, you think about putting the opposition in to bat, and then you decide to bat first. I think that's what maybe should have applied this morning. Runs on the board. Nothing like it. This is driven nicely and very well stopped as well by Tim Groenewald, who had to move. Was that Jack Brooks?
Brooksy, yeah.
It is, yes. Tim Groenewald's down here at long leg. You're quite right. Jack Brooks. Very good stop indeed. Saved his side 4 runs there. So that was nicely timed by Coda Cadmore. Overton with the new Emerald stand behind him. He's in and bowls and brings that one back in to Coda Cadmore. Good delivery on a good length, and draws an appreciative yelp from James Hildreth there at first slip. James Hildreth at first slip, Jamie Overton at second. Azar in the gully. They're the close catches, but they've had nothing to catch. Well, there was just that one flash from Gary Balance that just went away to Craig Overton's left. Whether he got a fingertip on it, I'm not absolutely sure, but it was going like a bullet, as Gary Balance had a rush of blood to the head. But that's been very much the exception. These two have just been going steadily along, collecting runs as the runs have been offered. Overton then to Coda Cadmore, is there and bowls, and Coda Cadmore drives it back to Overton, who makes as if to throw the wicket down, even though the batsman had never left his crease. But nothing wrong with a bit of aggression. Somerset needs something to get them going. It's been a low-key performance all day, really. They haven't looked much like championship contenders. Here's Overton in and bowls, and this is turned away through the onside. It'll just be a single as Bartlett comes off the boundary to do the fielding.
I think the measure of them as championship contenders, and the league table doesn't lie, especially at this time of the season. They have been the best side so far. But the measure of them is this next sort of 40 minutes or so today. Can they come back with a couple of wickets? Can they then come out tomorrow, having had a bit of a refresher, and nip out 2 or 3 more and just change the feel of the game? Yep. If Yorkshire end up 300 for 6 or 7 from this point, which is possible, then they'll feel that's a strong comeback, and that will be the sort of performance that starts to mark them out, won't it, as champions elect.
Overton bowls, and Balance will pick up a single, taking him on to 95. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, Jonathan. I think that they need to bounce back from this. But I think it does demonstrate what is maybe a weakness in that without Jack Leach and Lewis Gregory, the attack isn't quite as potent, and what they haven't been able to do today is take wickets on a good pitch. Whereas if you look at Essex with Simon Harmer does have that ability to take wickets on a good pitch. And it will be very interesting to see how he goes when Warwickshire have their turn to bat down at Fortress Chelmsford, as we must learn to call it. We're not missing any cricket. Jack Brooks is having a chat with Azhar Ali and Tom Abel, presumably about the field. No obvious changes being made. We've got 2 slips and a gully.
And that again is, you're alluding to the 2 players playing Lions cricket. It's one of those challenges that a side who wants to be champions has to face.
This is driven through the offside, 4 runs. That will be for Gary Balance, who moves on to 99. So I will hand over to Jonathan Doidge to carry him to his century.
Well, from a Yorkshire point of view,
or not.
He is hoping. Yeah, so 70 to Cola Cadmore, but it's Gary Balance on strike. And he has had, well, he had 4 successive centuries in the first 4 championship games of the season, and he was destructive here as well in a one-day game with another century. So he's had 5 in total. He faces up then to his old teammate. So in comes Jack Brooks from this pavilion end, and not this time for Gary Balance, who just props forward and pushes it back to the bowler. No run. But yeah, in terms of facing those championship-like challenges, losing a couple of players, I mean, let's for example say that they weren't playing Lions and they just both happened to have a tweak this week and couldn't play.
Yeah.
Those are the sort of things that you have to be able to overcome. International calls and the rest of it. They're doing pretty well so far. Brooks in again, and Balance just drops this into the leg side. And there's no run. He's been out there at the moment 218 minutes, and this is the sort of concentration that we've come to expect from Gary Balance. I've been calling for it from other players in the top 6 for Yorkshire. And Tom Kohler-Cadmore is only 10 minutes shy of that himself since walking out at number 4. So in comes number 70, Jack Brooks again to Balance, who gets it away this time through the covers, and rapturous applause and cheers from the home support, because Gary Balance has got it away to take himself to 103, Yorkshire 260 for 2. It is a 40th first-class 100 for Gary Balance to go with 4 in Test cricket, and it is a 6th of the season in total, a 5th in the Championship, and he gets a richly deserved ovation from the Headingley support, and he's just hit his old mate for 4 through the covers to do it. 218 minutes, 194 balls, and it's included 19 fours, and what another great knock from the Zimbabwean-born Balance.
Yep, a terrific innings from Gary Balance, who's never looked in any trouble. There was just that one bit of a wild yahoo which he nicked just wide of slip.
Back with you then, Anthony.
That's run down to third man. They're coming back for the second run as the throw comes in from Don Bess, and they get there comfortably enough, and that takes Balance on 205. That's his 2nd century against Somerset, to go with 5 50s. He averages before this game against Somerset 38, so that would have been improved in this is his 14th match, first-class match against Somerset. Brooks is bowling to him now. That's short and swung away down towards George Bartlett, who will do the fielding. It's just a single. End of that over. And Yorkshire 261 for 2 at the end of it. Completely in control.
194 deliveries and
There you go. 194 deliveries and 19 fours for Gary Balance. And just another innings of, well, on this occasion, calm assurance for Yorkshire. They lost a couple of quick wickets. Their last thing they wanted was another rat-a-tat-tat of players walking on and off. And he's steadied the ship again. So it's a first championship ton since the Hampshire game here, which was back in May, of course. A couple of 50s since then, so things haven't gone completely awry by any stretch of the imagination, but it's gone 2 clear games without scoring above 23, and for him that's a pretty bad trot. But back on track here. And now over to you, Tom Calder-Cadmore, because they've played really well together. He's still 30 more to make to achieve his first championship ton of the season.
Tim Grunewald, as predicted, coming on at the football stand end. Craig Overton's actually gone off the pitch for comfort break or running repairs. Grunewald's bowling round the wicket to the left-handed Balance. Gets that off the inside edge out into the onside. Don Best quickly to his left. Does the fielding. Only 2 wickets have fallen all day, within a few minutes of each other towards the end of the morning session. Both rather gifted by the batsman. One from a leg stump half volley, chipped to mid-wicket. The other from a short of a length off spinner that bounced a little bit more than Adam Lyth was expecting. Grunewald's in and bowls outside the off stump to Balance, who plays no shot. So if it hadn't have been for those 2 batsmen's mistakes, Yorkshire could have gone through the entire day to date without losing a wicket. On a pitch that, I don't think it's completely flat, do you, Jonathan? I mean, it's more batsman than bowler friendly.
Yeah, but there was a bit of nip early on.
Yeah, there was. A little bit of bounce for Don Best. Grunewald's in and bowls, and that's nicked down the leg side for 4 runs. Not a good delivery from Grunewald. Well played by Balance. 4 very simple. He's given it leg byes. Oh, I thought that came off the bat.
Definitely did.
Yeah.
No question
I don't think his
about
pad was anywhere near it.
No. No. He's got that one wrong.
Yeah.
Pete Hartley, I'm afraid. You owe Gary Balance a pint or 4 runs back.
Yeah, we had a good view of that from here. And it was quite clearly off the bat. Anyway, 267 for 2. Grunewald bowls to Balance, who comes across his stumps. I don't know whether Grunewald saw him doing that, fired it wide of the off stump. At, too wide for Balance to have to get his bat anywhere near it. Most of the crowd staying on, enjoying what's been a very good day for Yorkshire cricket. And a bit of a rude awakening for Somerset. Here's Grunewald in and bowls outside the off stump. Or perhaps reality check would be a better way of putting it. They've found it very difficult to take wickets against determined batsmen on a decent pitch.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, professional sport is like this, isn't it? When you sometimes you win a game and you maybe in your minds get a little bit carried away and then go and lose, and then the reverse happens.
Grunewald in outside the off stump again. No shot from Balance. End of that over. It is 5:30. End of my commentary stint. And after some words from Jonathan Deutsch, Dave Townsend will be coming in alongside to take, and the pair of them will take you through to the close.
Thanks, Anthony. That off. And David Willey, Matthew Fisher, by the looks of things out there. In fact, Jordan Thompson taking on a spare pair of gloves for Gary Balance, and a little bit of a word. And yeah, just thinking about the way things go in sport. You win a game, maybe sometimes you might appear to be overconfident next time. I don't think Yorkshire did, I've got to say, down at Chelmsford, and certainly they would have been chastened by the start they had down there. But then when you disappointed yourselves, as much as anything, irrespective of your coach and your spectators, when you've been disappointed in your own performance and you are a proud professional sportsman, you want to come back strongly. And I sort of fancied, I wrote in my build-up piece to this that goes on the Yorkshire website, that I thought they'd come back strongly, because I think they were stung the other day by the way they played themselves. So while there's still a long way to go in this game, and nobody's predicting winning points and all the rest of it by any stretch at this stage, it's been a very encouraging first day from a Yorkshire point of view. I think that's probably the best way to put it at the moment. As DT is awakened from his slumber on the back desk and will return in a moment, and he'll see Jamie Overton back into the attack, bowling from this, the Kirkstall Lane end. Short of a length first up, again with good pace and carry, and that lengthy follow through. Tom Kohler-Cadmore shouldering arm, so he needs, as I was saying, another 30. Still a little bit away from getting a first championship ton of the season. Had that big 100 against the Leeds Bradford University side, which is officially a first-class 100, of course. He's been out there 162 balls, 216 minutes, and so far hit 10 boundaries. And that, for TKC, you would have to say, is a measured knock by the standards of the speed at which he plays on quite a lot of occasions. And it's good to see that he's really stuck in today, played with responsibility. And that's short of a length delivery, worked by him down to fine leg. We'll get him one more, so 71, 268 for 2.
Yeah, it's been a long old day in the dirt, as they say, for the Somerset side. Eyes on that title, still a way to go yet. 4 matches after this. Essex close on their heels. Looks as though there might be a result wicket down there at Chelmsford again.
In comes Overton. That's full and wide of off stump, and Balance just offers the bat. I think gets it somewhere down near the bottom, runs it away to the deep point boundary where Best fields, and they get a single. So 107 now for Balance, 269 for 2.
So one time when he does reach out for deliveries, isn't it? When they're wide, doesn't go looking for them in front of his body. Tom Kohler-Cadmore, a changed man since that chat with you the other night. He's gone home and thought about it.
Yep. I've been texting him out in the middle, just making sure he gets his head in the right position. Here comes Overton to Kohler-Cadmore, who ducks under the bouncer. There are 2 men back, of course. Bess is just in front of square on the leg side, pretty much on the boundary, 5 metres or so in, as his long leg.
So it wasn't just verbal support then, you were offering a few technical tips as well, were you?
Of course.
He'd have appreciated that.
No, I wasn't offering. No, I wasn't offering technical tips. He was.
I'm joking.
He was seeking them. Here's Overton short and across the face of Kohler-Cadmore, shoulders, arms. That's down the leg side, and Davies does the taking. Had a little fly on the window just in front of the commentary position for quite a while. Ah, there we go. Little tap and it's gone. Taking the hint. A few pigeons flying around.
You've got to do another update.
Another update, yeah. Certainly been put to the sword on the update front today.
Well, especially for Saturday.
Overton in, short ball, and that's pulled. Lovely shot from Tom Kohler-Cadmore. That was complete control from the moment that he picked up the bat in the back lift and pulled that backward of square for 4 runs. 75 to him, 273 for 2. Stand
So
by
he's
then.
coming to you in a minute, is he?
Yep. responded to me earlier and I did an Aussie accent.
Yeah.
Do you want it in an Aussie accent or in Yorkshire? It's looking good, as you know, Jamie. You're good at keeping these things to yourself, aren't you? 273 for 2, closing in on the end of play on the first day, on a very good first day for Yorkshire. Then Gary Balance, as you know, has just made his 40th, I should say, first class 119 falls included in it. Hasn't given a chance, major chance of any note. There's been one or two that have not been too far from the hand, I guess. But it's played with great control. He's shared a partnership here of 191 and counting with Tom Kohler-Cadmore, who I think has played within himself. And for me, this is as good a knock as I've seen from him this season. When he's faced a bit of criticism, particularly for his couple of shots down at Chelmsford the other day, I should say. So 75 not out for him at the moment. Still got a job to do to get to that 3 figures, but he looks determined, doesn't he? The way he's been playing, and having given those couple of wickets really just before lunch. Will Frame was playing really well for his 45 and Adam Lyth for 35. They'll be heartened by this response, and it's been one of the best days so far of the campaign, I think, as far as the home side are concerned. Yeah, there've been some good ones. Of course, great day to finish things off at Scarborough the other week, but that's because maybe they didn't get enough runs in the first innings and it got more competitive than it might have done. I think the only real crushing success this year was that one down at the Ageas Bowl, and they did bat particularly well in the first innings down there. They haven't quite got to that sort of total yet here. It's still a fair bit of work to do to achieve that. But it'd be right up there with that, and maybe the day on which they managed to bring home the result from Canterbury as well. Yeah, it is, and I think there's people who might rightly say it's about time that they had a real good solid look to the top 4. Everybody's gone in and got some runs today, so I think they've been threatening this sort of setting up this sort of performance anyway. They haven't, they've got to go and complete it, and for goodness sake, there's 3 days to go, and they're playing against a team who are clearly the best side in the competition so far this season. So a lot can change, but as I say, without getting carried away, it's a very encouraging start. They've been threatening to put a team away, I think, for quite a while. I've said this, on a few occasions. They've been performing probably at a B standard, even when winning games. Maybe a bit better than that when they beat Hampshire. But I think there's still an A performance or two in them. And it looks like they've come prepared to try and put that into place against the tabletop inside. All right, mate. Oh, look, it's 278 for 2. Balance 110 not out, and Kohler-Cadmore's on strike 75.
Well, there you go.
There you go. And with that, he was gone. Not missed much in the way of run scoring. A couple since Jamie was on and pressing me to do an accent.
Yes. Listeners never get to hear the other end of that, do they?
So in came Grunewald, who's back on from the Emerald stand end, and Kohler-Cadmore shoulders arms. It's the end of over number 91 for the day. Balance 110 not out. Kohler-Cadmore 75, 278 for 2 DT.
Yeah, can you do a Kiwi accent? Which is slightly different, isn't it?
Yeah, they sort of
just
get
have
the
to say
vowels
fash
wrong
and
there.
chops.
Fash and chops, yeah.
Fash chops.
Giri Balance and Tom Kohler-Cadmore.
Yeah, that's pretty good effort, that. 278 for 2 then, as you were just saying there, connected to the Radio Leeds live show here today. That's great, isn't it, having a live show from Headingley? Anyway, it has been one of Yorkshire's best days of the season. I wouldn't mind guessing it's been one of Somerset's worst as well, in terms of just not been able to make that breakthrough, get that wicket, get a new batsman in. Harry Brook's been sitting down there for a long time with his pads on, waiting to come in.
As Overton does that from round the wicket, and then a bit of football skills as Balancer dropped the ball into the leg side. As the bowler kicks it, that's not going to do it any good.
Not going to do his foot a lot of good either, is it?
Yeah. Mark in Thetford, good afternoon or good evening to you. He says, hi Jonathan, congrats to Gary Balance on yet another ton. He's been a fantastic player for Yorkshire for a long while and is still as good as ever. For many years he's been our go-to batsman and has delivered more often than not. Hopefully TKC can follow suit and get to his ton as well. I'm sure plenty of listening Yorkshire fans would share those sentiments. Maybe not those of a Somerset persuasion. Short ball here. Oh, and he's been put down at first slip. Gary Balance has a little fish, and when you need something, James Hildreth, is it at first slip still?
It is, yeah. Sort of, what was it, knee high to his left. He's taken it just outside his left knee, and you'd have thought that's straight in and gone. Thank you, Gary, on your way. And let's have a look at Harry Brook. But it was in, out, snatched up as soon as it hit the turf. But I'm afraid that doesn't count. 278 for 2.
What will Jamie Overton's reaction be here as he comes into Gary Balance? Is that going to fire him up? In he comes now then, and throws it wide of off stump again. That pronounced follow through right down the pitch, but it's not going to do him any good. He got the opportunity with his previous delivery, and to be fair,
it was a poor shot.
It wasn't a great delivery, was it either? It was just wide of off stump, and it's the sort of ball that Gary Balance has left alone or played very comfortably throughout the day and just laid his bat on it, but he got underneath it. A very, very big surprise, but I guess when you've been out there, maybe, I don't know James Hildreth at all, so I couldn't tell you what his concentration levels are like, but when you've been just hoping for a wicket, maybe wasn't quite on it in that moment. As Balance drops this next ball to point and scampers through for 1. He's on to Nelson.
Yeah, I don't think there was if you have a look at his first-class batting average, I don't think there's a lot wrong with
his concentration
James
levels.
Hildreth's concentration levels, but those things happen. Nobody drops one deliberately.
But you know what I'm saying? In the field, it's not batting, is it? It's not every ball is definitely coming my way. In the field, it is different.
It is, yeah.
And that's the only ball that's come his way all day in that position. It's something that Somerset really did need. Yorkshire, of course, have got a couple of points on the board with the bat here. Somerset still looking for that first bowling point, having taken just the 2, and that could have been it. He's back over the wicket now to the right-handed Kola Cadmo, who tries the Yorker, and Kola Cadmo gets something on it. Not sure if it was bat or boot. If it was boot, that would have hurt.
Toe under the bat, I think, wasn't it? Looked a couple of times today we've seen the players trying to turn the ball, certainly Will Frayne earlier on as well, trying to turn the ball through the leg side, getting that leading edge.
Yeah, Chris Sharp listening in York while doing some bicycle maintenance. Good day for Yorkshire, which should mean I get an entertaining day on Monday when I cycle up to Headingley.
He's a great man in his lycra. A lot of them out at the moment, of course, with this Tour de France on, isn't there?
What's that then? Here comes Overton again. Big appeal here. That's more, I think, out of frustration and desperation, but it looked like it was down the leg side to me, and it was given as a leg bite. Kola Cadmo was the man on strike. That's the end of the over. 280 for 2. Jacob Lee Hart has also been in touch. After you work with TKC, are you going to apply for the England job? Good day for Yorkshire. Not the most difficult wicket, but so often Yorkshire players have found silly ways to get themselves out. So the concentration and patience is good to see. And Russ Pickup, last couple of days in Seville, watching the stream, chuffed with TCK today. Yorkshire have made a new signing after that awful shot against Essex, he says.
Well, you're obviously, your little chat, as we've said before, obviously did the trick, Doidgy.
I'll accept full credit for it.
Well, I'd accept any sort of payment for it if I was you.
So it's going to be Grudeval from the Emerald stand end. In he comes over the wicket to Cola Cadmore himself, who cuts this nicely backward of point. Best round to do the fielding. He struck it well, and therefore the ball travelled quickly to the fielder, and they get just a single.
These are the hard yards, aren't they, for the fielding side? Trying to keep the spirits up.
Last few overs of the day, you haven't taken a wicket since, well,
just before lunch.
Yeah, goodness knows when. Probably, let's just check on that in terms of the last wicket fell after 30.3 overs, so 62 overs almost since the last wicket was taken. And you put one down. Balance hasn't put this one down though. Second slip, and it's Jamie Overton who's done the catching. Had to jump as well. It was in the midriff area, but Gary Balance's vigil at the crease has finally come for Nelson. Come to an end for Nelson. 1-1-1. He's gone. Partnership ended on 199 excellent runs between he and Tom Cola Cadmore. 281 for 3 and a 400th wicket there for Tim Groeneveld. So many congratulations to him. Good delivery to get a man who is well set and playing superbly out there in Gary Balance. And he rightly acknowledges the warm applause that he receives. 241 minutes at the crease, 212 deliveries and 19 fours as he had when he passed the 100 mark. Balance has gone, and Yorkshire 3 down then.
Yeah, 212 balls, as you said. 19 fours. So finding the boundary with regularity, but gave that chance in the previous over, perhaps. Getting into these last few overs of the day. Good night, Watchman coming out now. Perhaps getting into these last few overs with the talking about fielding side, keeping the spirits up. Of course, the batsman batted a long time. Everything we said about the fielding side applies to the batsman as well. Just needed to get in there. Josh Shaw, recalled from Gloucestershire to play in this game, is out in the middle. Night Watchman. Now he's seen how the pitchers play today. He'll be thinking to himself, yeah, well, we're going to bat for at least a session, probably a session and a half if we can tomorrow. There's a chance for me. I've got a chance to bat for 3 hours here. I don't normally get that. Just think to himself, mind your work tonight, Josh, and then come out tomorrow morning, almost like an opening batsman tomorrow morning. Tom Cola Cadmore still there on 76, but that was an excellent knock, wasn't it, from Gary Balance.
Yeah, just 3.4 overs to survive for Shaw, whose first delivery from Groeneveld is wide of off stump, and there's no run. Tim Groeneveld then 400 first-class wickets, as you heard, 137 matches, during which he's bowled in 235 innings and has a best of 6 for 50 in one innings, 9 for 136 in a match, averaging just over 29 with the ball. So congratulations to him, and he nearly takes a second one with him as well there. Inside edge from Shaw.
Oh.
Looks like it was onto his pad and not far away from diverting onto off stump. So it could have been 2 quickies. 281 for 3. Shaw, Yorkshire's night watchman, survives on this occasion. He's played 31 first-class matches, Josh Shaw, and scored just the 363 runs with a highest of 42, averaging 11. And he's in again, Groeneveld here, played out into the offside by Yorkshire's number 25. First match of the season for him in Yorkshire first-class colours today.
And something else I suppose we should point out, anybody listening knows, I'm sure, but that's a bowling point as well for Somerset, and having to wait until the 93rd over for the first bowling point. Hard old day.
Here's Groeneveld again, very wide of off stump this time. Disappointed in himself, and he would be with the night watchman in to try and nick out in the last 3 overs of the day, but he'll be happy to have broken that deadlock. Lengthy partnership. 199 between Cola Cadmore and Gary Balance. 15 overs, 5 maidens, 1 for 34 so far in this innings for Groeneveld.
Yeah, and it's just been announced on the PA system that was his 400th wicket. Inevitable, I suppose, after our discussions earlier in the day about Nelson, that Gary Balance, or one of the batsmen, would actually get out for 111. Thank you very much for all the tweets we had on that. There was some great theories, and there was David Collicutt's theory as well.
1957 the official attendance here as Overton's in to Kola Cadmore, who didn't know much about that. The ball ballooning up in the air off either he or his equipment. And drops into the leg side. Big appeal for LBW, so clearly the fielding side felt it beat the bat. So 1957 in.
Good little burst this from Jamie Overton.
I said that earlier, and then he started to go for runs, so maybe he might have jinxed in there, DT. Commentator's curse.
Tom Kola Cadmore doesn't believe in it. Last time you said that, you got him out, didn't you?
And short ball from Overton. Kola Cadmore pulls the bat inside the line. There was definite movement there, but plenty of time to see it.
Tails up now.
Looks like the mighty Rawdon first 11 are up against it against Bilton in the Ardell and Wharfdale League. Bilton 145 all out. Rawdon 82 for 6. Sorry, Anthony, that's my club. And number one son out LBW for naught. Dear me, can't name him now, can I? Not really my son after that.
I bet it was missing.
All three. Here's Overton short and quick, and Kola Cadmore though again has plenty of time to pull the bat inside the line. And what you'd like to see, just from a cricketing point of view, and I'm sure from a Somerset point of view, is that these short balls are on the money, because they're plenty quick enough and could be asking questions. But the batsman has been out there most of the day now, 76 not out, and doubtless seeing it like a football. He's just happy to watch these go by and play for the close of play. Overton turns again. Can he get one on the money to Kola Cadmore? That's better because it makes him play. Drops it out into the gully region. No run.
Yeah, I don't know whether Kola Cadmore will be thinking, right, well, I'm set here. I'm on 76. I'll just look after Jamie Overton because he's bowling really well. Or does he think, no, I'll get down the other end and let young Shaw have a go at these? Or older Shaw, in actual fact. But
chasing a pigeon at the moment. Kola Cadmore is broken out into a trot. The pigeon breaks out into flight and heads off for a 6 over mid-wicket.
he'll be back.
He lands just over the ropes. Good effort from the pigeon. Meanwhile, in comes Overton, and that is fuller of length. Kola Cadmore with a solid block.
He's off with his mates now, look, a group of them. Wouldn't it be great if you could fly? Just imagine it, just to you'd be sitting out there and say, I'm going to fly down there somewhere. It'd be great. 3 or 4 of your mates with you as well.
You can and often do. Thailand, Australia, Sri Lanka,
Not
wherever
that
you
sort of
fancy.
flying, you know what I mean. It gives you great freedom, sure.
The pigeon landed on behind Kola Cadmore, between him and the keeper. Is that 5 runs if it hits the pigeon? Or is it more for a moving target? Overton in again. Kola Cadmore again pulls the bat inside the line to a ball short and just wide of off stump. It's the end of over number 94 of the day. Overton 13 overs, 3 maidens, no wicket for 44. And Yorkshire 281 for 3, and the board says that 2 remain in the day.
Yeah, and the pigeon's now placing himself at sort of orthodox mid-off, really. He doesn't seem to be scared of too many of the players. Where his mate's gone. Yorkshire will just want to mind their work now. 6 minutes left in the day. We're going to finish almost bang on at 6 o'clock.
Here comes Grunewald, pushed back at the pitch by Shaw. No run, the pigeon unmoved.
He's not
the CLO might be having a word here with Tom Abel.
Well,
Extra
the pigeon
extra
is
fielder on the pitch.
Yeah, the other thing I've noticed, he doesn't actually walk in with the bowler. They need to have a word with him about that.
Walking away back to his
Yeah.
mark at the moment. In fact, not interested as the bowler comes in. He's still facing the wrong way, and that's a delivery just short of a length, dropped into the offside by Shaw. No run.
The sort of season Somerset have been having and the sort of confidence there is in their ranks, they'll be thinking, nick one out this over, nick one out in their next over as well, and go in there at 284 for 5 or something, and we'll think, well, we still haven't had the best of the day, but at least we've dragged it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Even if they could just nick one of these two out, 280 something for 4.
Just the 10 balls remain. Grunwald in, this time fading it down the leg side. Shaw happy to watch it go by.
Pigeon's moved out to sort of deepish extra cover now. I don't know what he's expecting Grunwald to bowl.
Maybe it's a plan. Maybe it's... Oh no, he's taken flight. That's it. He's had enough. Not happy with the captaincy. In fact, he's just positioned himself on the boundary.
Yeah.
So Grunwald in again. Over the wicket. And Shaw solid once more. And just turning it out into the leg side. And there's no run. With some tired bodies, tired minds out there for Somerset. And Yorkshire will certainly want to try and play on that tomorrow as well. And bat as long as they possibly can in this first innings now and really set things up and try to become one of the few sides who've put a bit of pressure on the visitors so far this season. Good length ball, this time pushed out into the offside by Shaw. There's no run.
They're coming from all corners, look, for that little gathering of pigeons over there by one of the tarpaulins or plastic sheets that they cover the ground with. Perhaps they've been at the Kirkstall Festival earlier. You see that was on down by Kirkstall Abbey.
Oh, was that today?
Oh, yes.
Glad it will have started and finished in the time we've been here. As Grunwald's in again and turned to leg by Shaw, who saw the over out well there, the night watchman. He's not yet scored, but that's not the point. Kohler Cadmore then back on strike to face Overton with just the 1 over remaining in the day.
Walked past there this morning, my morning exercise, and they were setting up and the big fete, something like that, is it? The Kirkstall Festival down by the old Abbey. If you're in Leeds, that's always a nice spot to have a wander around. Very pleasant on a warm afternoon. Last over the day coming up then. And Yorkshire really do need to just make sure they just keep hold of this day. They don't want a 4th wicket to fall.
So Overton into Kohler Cadmore. Low full toss. Pushed up to mid-off where Azhar Ali fields. No run. Yeah, bit of history. I mean, Kirkstall Abbey just down, almost literally just downhill. Down the hill and turn right and go up the next hill by about, quarter of a mile? Probably about a mile away. Cistercian monastery, ruins thereof. So Jamie Overton turns again. Right arm over the wicket, passes Mike Burns. It's short. Kohler Cadmore not going to play anything that he doesn't have to in this last over, and he's happy to watch it go through to Davis's gloves. I hadn't realised actually until I went to Fountains Abbey, which is another great example in the World Heritage Site just up the road, 30 miles or so, Ripon Way. The importance of Kirkstall Abbey. When you sort of live local to something, it's often the case that you don't go and see it. I have been to see it and read about it, but not until you go somewhere else where you realise the importance of Kirkstall back in those days as well. Don Bess just sent out to 10 metres in from the mid-wicket boundary as the short ball comes from Overton, but Kohler Cadmore right behind this and blocks it, and in the end Overton in his follow-through tries a fancy bit of a flick really at the stumps as they were thinking about a single, and in the end gifts them it with a bit of a wild overthrow. So Kohler Cardmore off strike. He'll be happy to sit on the bat end at the other end of the pitch. 77 to him, 282 for 3 and just 3 balls left.
Yeah, not often you can have a shy at the stumps and
Missed by that much.
miss by more than the distance that you're standing away from the stumps, is it? There's some effort that. Almost went entirely in the wrong direction. Good day of first-class cricket here. Yorkshire have been on top, made steady progress. 111 from Gary Balance. Tom Kohler Cadmore still there on 77. The openers contributed as well. Young Will Frayne, 45.
Overton in, slanted across the face of Shaw, who is of course a right-hander. Down the leg side though, he was able to step away towards the offside and watch it go by the shoulder. So just 2 remaining in the day. Run rate has now dropped below 3 for the day, 2.95, but no major concerns with that. Hasn't felt a particularly slow day, but there have been periods when Somerset have used up a bit of time, most notably I suppose just before the second new ball was taken. Next ball is wide of off stump, full, and Shaw runs it down to third man, but they decide to turn the single down, as you might expect with the night watchman, with just the 1 ball remaining. I've got no problem with that.
No, that's sensible cricket, isn't it? You do not want to lose your main man there in the final over, because it just kills the momentum a little bit and takes a little bit of the gloss off the day. Even at 280, 2 for 4 though, it would have been a good day for Yorkshire, as indeed it might still be if the night watchman departs to this ball. But very, very strong performance from the Yorkshire batsman.
The final ball of the day is a good one from Jamie Overton. Beats Josh Shaw on and around off stump, but doesn't beat him well enough to take his wicket, and that is it for the day at Emerald Headingley Stadium. Yorkshire 282 for 3, having had an uncontested toss and been asked to bat by table-topping Somerset. We've had 111 from Gary Balance, 77 not out Tom Kohler Cadmore overnight, and his night watchman partner Josh Shaw not out naught, plus 45 from Will Frayne and 35 from Adam Lyth, the 2 wickets to have fallen in the morning session. It's been a good day for Yorkshire.
It has indeed been a great day for Yorkshire, and we'll be back with further commentary for you tomorrow morning at some time around 10:55. We know there's another game of some sort going on tomorrow, but we also know our loyal fans will be with us as well. Have a good night, everyone.